family has held him in great reverence. An old man is lying in front of his servants and weakly remarks that he traversed into a different world, but he had no innate talent or gifts and lived an ordinary life, but fortunately, he had many concubines and had many children, found in the vast Shio family. He mutters that as leaves return to their roots, in the end, he couldn't change the world, but fortunately, the world couldn't change him either. A man tearfully tells him that the third-generation daughter-in-law of their great-grandchild is about to give birth, but she couldn't come. The rest of the family is here, so he asks if there's anything he'd like to instruct them on and asks him to please go ahead since this old servant will definitely uphold the family's teachings. However, the ancestor warily says spring comes and goes, people come and go early. These are all good things. He asks if a name has been chosen for the child who is about to be born, and says since their Shio family is thriving, they should name him Chanhuo, which means prosperity and fire. They suddenly realize the ancestor has passed away and wish that he rests in peace for eternity. The ancestor remarks that he detected the birth of a descendant with spiritual roots named Xiaohohuo. The family prospering and success system officially activates and explains that for every descendant born into the host's family, the system offers unparalleled martial arts, supreme time pills, divine artifacts, opportunities of the 9 stars, and countless other premium rewards. The ancestor suddenly gets up, shocking everyone. Overjoyed, the men happily start cheering for him and wonder if the ancestor hasn't passed away yet. The ancestor wonders what kind of nonsense the family prosperity and success system is and angrily remarks that this is a ridiculous system since it only activates when you're 100 years old. A screen unexpectedly appears in front of the ancestor and congratulates him, stating that the newbie gift pack has been urgently activated for him and he has gained an additional 360 days of lifespan. It additionally congratulates the host for acquiring the Supreme Qiao spiritual roots and for obtaining the Supreme Immortal Cultivation Technique, the Hongmeng Purple Chu Scripture. On top of that, it congratulates him for gaining 50 years of cultivation and asks him to maintain his focus and consolidate his cultivation immediately. A crystal slowly rises into the air and covers his body with an orange aura. One of the men happily realizes this is the Supreme Dao Rhyme and says he was fortunate to witness it during his travels in Zebu, so this is truly a heavenly opportunity. He exclaims that at the moment of the patriarch's life and death, it seems he has gained some enlightenment and seems to have stepped into the path of immortality, so he wishes that the Shio family rises to greatness. The screen congratulates the ancestor for establishing the foundation, and the ancestor opens his eyes to realize that he's been de-aged. He's stunned to see that he advanced 9 levels in a day and instantly established the foundation, so he is truly worth of the system. The men bow in front of him and congratulate him for entering the path of immortality as the ancestor remarks that for each child born into the family, there will be a reward. With rewards comes longevity and one can live longer. Now, the generation of sons is already in their 70s and there's not much hope left. He remarks that his grandsons are already 50s, so there is hope left for them, since the great-grandsons are young and must be pushed to strive day and night. He orders the men to convey his orders and declares that he'll let the younger generation work hard to give birth to more offspring. 10 years later, as the ancestor Shen is drinking tea, his eldest son, Xiaoli, informs him that following his orders to have a small wedding every 7 days, the Xiao family has become famous for taking in concubines from far and wide, and that in these 10 years, they have become the most prominent family in Sunset City. His descendant, Xiaohuo, smilingly stays silent as Chen learns that the family harmony and prosperity system has been activated. He remarks that for these 10 years, he's remained secluded and the entire Sunset City believes he's dead, so it's better to stay hidden for optimal growth. One only gets a system at 100 years old, so cherishing life is a must. The old steward, Fubu, greets Chen and informs him that the Nalan family has come to cancel the marriage. Chen is annoyed to hear this, so Fubu explains that the Nalan family's young Miss Nalan Yun was accepted as a closed-door by the sect master of Qinglan sect on Qinglan Mountain, and they've come to provoke them in the main hall. Li says the Nalan family has gone too far, but the system suddenly informs Chen that his descendant, Xiaohoho, has been rejected for marriage and he has a choice. It says his first option is to endure the humiliation, be forced to cancel the marriage and receive a reward of 100,000 low-grade spirit stones, and the second option is to counterattack aggressively, proactively divorce, and receive a reward Emperor of Flames fate. Chen wonders if this can really trigger a choice and wonders what the fate is, so the system explains that the Emperor of Flames fate is an ancient deity formed from the essence of Emperor Yan after his fall that possesses a mysterious and immense power. It can enhance the user's spiritual root aptitude and can be bestowed upon others. Chen smiles, so Fubu and Li wonders if it's possible that he's lost his memory. Chen remarks that his eldest son, Li is just a mortal with no spiritual root and cannot cultivate. The future of the Xiao family relies on descendants like Xiao Huo who can practice. Chen asks Li what he knows about Qinglin's second on Qinglan Mountain and question what the current cultivation level of their secret sect master is. Chen explains that from what he knows, the sect master of Qinglin's sect is a half-step golden core realm expert, realizing that he intends to intervene on behalf of Xiao Huo. He wonders if the Nalan family is trying to bully the Xiao family by relying solely on the half-step golden core realm sect master of Qinglin's sect, and says it seems like they're pushing their luck with their family. After all, the Xiao family has a golden core realm ancestor. Chen tells Huo to not worry because he'll handle everything for him, so Huo thanks him for taking charge. In the Xiao family's main hall, the Nalan family's patriarch, Nalan Hongqiu, angrily asks what's going on with the Xiao family since it's been so long and they still haven't returned. As Xiao Huo is fiancé, Nalan Yun is sitting beside him. He says their Yun has become the closed-door disciple of the Qinglan sect master, while that Xiao Huo is just an ordinary person. He says they must know that Yun is too good for Huo, and are probably discussing how to keep this marriage on their side, and they even talk about going to the ancestral mountain for approval, even though the Xiao family's ancestor has been dead for 10 years. The Xiao family's servants angrily watch them before Li arrives with Huo and tells Hongqiu it's been a while. Hongqiu says it is true that Huo is handsome and polite, and by all accounts, he is indeed a good match for Yun, but this is a pity, so he wonders if the Xiao family's ancestor will agree to cancel this arrangement. He sets down a cup and says this is the elixir Yun's master personally refined, the top-grade supreme body purifying pill, and tells Chen to consider it compensation from the Nalan family to the Xiao family. Li remarks that the Nalan family is quite generous since they've pulled out an elixir just to break the engagement and must really have some calculations in mind because this is a big favor they're asking for. He remarks that in the end, the Xiao family might owe the Nalan family a debt of gratitude, so they have some clear scheming going on. As Chen is watching from afar, he smilingly sees that they can get this worked up with just a piece of candy and tells Huo it's his turn. Huo addresses Hongqiu and says he should take back this elixir for Nalan Yun's use, and as for canceling the engagement, their Xiao family cannot agree to it. Hongqiu angrily tells Huo he's just a child and has no place to interfere, so he should be quiet. However, Huo steps forward and directly asks Yun if canceling the engagement was her or the Nalan family master's. She says it was obviously her idea since, after all, her master doesn't want her to marry a mere mortal in the world, since that would hinder her own cultivation. She tells Huo he should understand the gap between them. Chen chuckles while Huo tells Yun that as a child of a prominent family herself, she should understand that coming to someone's door to break off the engagement is a very shameful matter, and if he were to agree to her request, he asks what the future would be for their Xiao family in Sunset City and Qingyun Mountain. Yun angrily reminds him that he's just a mortal and asks what qualifications he has to negotiate terms with this young lady. However, Huo asks Yun if she really thinks that him, a mortal, isn't worthy of her, a cultivator, and questions what else she has to rely on besides the support of the Qinglan sect behind her. Furthermore, he asks how she's so sure that he, Xiao Huo, is just a mere mortal and reveals that he has long entered the path of cultivation. The servants are shocked to see him exude the aura of the fourth stage of Qi refinement, and say he's just one small realm between Nalan Yun, who is a closed-door disciple of the Qinglan sect's sect master. Hongqiu and Yun wonder how this is possible and realize Huo is also a cultivator who has entered the path of immortality. Surprised, Yun says she can postpone the matter of breaking off the engagement, but she has one condition. Huo asks if she still has a condition to tell him, so she says her condition is that the annulment be delayed for 10 years. 10 years from now, she tells him to come challenge her at the Qinglan sect and says by that time, after he's been defeated, she will publicly annul the engagement. At that point, the annulment will be solely between her and him and won't have much impact on the Xiao family, so he asks if he agrees. Huo says he has a saying from their ancestors: here are 30 years on the east side of the river, 30 years on the west side. Never underestimate a young man in poverty. Li appreciatively says that was well said and says he truly is a descendant of his Xiao family. Yun annoyingly asks if he dares to lecture her when he's at only the 4th level of Qi and declares that within 10 years, she will make him kneel and beg on his own. However, Huo says there is no need for 10 years and signs a certificate before declaring that this isn't the annulment document she desires, it's a divorce decree from the Xiao family. From this day forward, Nalan Yun and him, Xiao Huo along with the Xiao family have no further relationship. Yun questions how he dares to write a divorce decree for her while Chen smiles and the screen informs him that he has chosen option 2 successfully and he's received the Emperor of Flame's fate. Hu orders his guards to escort the Nalans, and Li tells them to not forget the priceless Supreme Body Purifying Pill. In the back mountain, Chen tells Hu to come here since his ancestor has something good for him that will relax his mind. Hu thanks him, so Chen gives him the Emperor of Flame Fate and says his spirit root hasn't changed and his cultivation hasn't improved. Moreover, the Emperor of Flame's fate hasn't met the activation conditions. He informs Hua that his ancestor has used a secret technique to improve his spiritual root aptitude now, but there's a condition. He needs to work hard in his cultivation to activate this reward from his ancestor. Otherwise, similar events like today may happen again. He asks Hua if he understands and tells him to go and cultivate now. A year later, Chen is meditating in Qingjun Mountain when he suddenly senses something and says it seems like some natural treasures are about to appear. The system congratulates him and says the host has encountered the emergence of natural treasures, so it asks him to please choose. The system informs Chen that option 1 is for him to use his cultivation at the 3rd level of the Golden Core to directly seal off the entire Qingjun Mountain, monopolizing the treasure, which will reward him with a 5th grade high-quality magic weapon, and option 2 is to preserve his own strength, watch from the sidelines, and avoid exposing himself as if he hasn't seen anything. Chen decides to choose the second option since it aligns better with his thoughts and plays it safe, which is a good idea. Chen receives a flowing cloud plate, which will automatically adjust its size according to the wearer's body shape and also adheres to the skin, becoming inner armor, which means it will only manifest when he's in danger. Chen activates the flying sword so that he can head home and flies off, remarking that the system wanted to trick him into choosing to seal off Qingjun Mountain, but that's just asking for trouble. As long as he quietly cultivates in the mountains and lets future generations continue to flourish, the future will be right and all sorts of magic treasures and cult will be his own. He remarks that for him, living a long life and having many descendants are the keys to a better and happier future, which is what truly matters. The next morning, the guards are asking each other if they saw the dazzling purple light yesterday. One says he saw it too and had an argument with his wife last night, so he went out to clear his head and saw it. The guard believes it must be some kind of treasure or perhaps even something left behind by the immortals, so his friend suggests that they should take a look when they go hunting on the mountain today. The man agrees and says finding treasure like that would be a game changer. People try gathering everyone to not let their rival families get there before them and believe this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. In Sunset City, as Li is sitting in a cart, he orders for it to be moved faster. In the Xiao family's backyard, he informs Chen that he has important matters to report. Chen asks why he's in such a hurry and tells him to sit down first. Li remarks that even at his age, well past 80, he's still quite strong, but he needs his father's use of spiritual energy to help him sit, and his father looks younger than him. He reveals that there was a mysterious light on Qingjun Mountain last night, and rumor has it that a great treasure has appeared. Early this morning, all the major and minor clans in the vicinity went into the mountains to search for it. Even in Sunset City, many smaller families have sent treasure hunting teams, and their Xiao family has someone like Zhao Huao with spiritual potential, so for a treasure like this, they absolutely cannot lag behind the other families. He remarks that as long as Chen agrees, he will immediately organize a team and get ready to head to Qingjun Mountain to search for the treasure. However, Chen tells him to not be hasty and asks if he remembers the words he used to often remind him of when he was a child. Li says he remembers that Chen taught to think carefully before acting and to plan before moving. Chen agrees and says so, in a situation like this, their Xiao family absolutely cannot participate. Li tries to argue, but Chen reminds him they're just ordinary people, so they shouldn't even consider such a rare treasure if it appears, since even if they were lucky enough to find it, they would still face the greed of other claws. It's better not to participate from the beginning. Observe quietly while other families fight and eventually they might reap the benefits without getting involved. Li understands, remarking that he still has some reservations about Chen's decisions, but he can't go against him since he's so resolute. Chen says the most important thing right now is to have children for their Xiao family, so they shouldn't meddle in other matters, and Chen agrees. 3 days later, in the Xiao family's rear mountain, Chen wonders if someone is coming towards the Xiao family's rear mountain. He uses divine sense to instantly teleport him to his side with a thought. Lai explains that the news of a valuable treasure appearing in Qingjun Mountain reached Qinglin's sect, and they dispatched 12 immortals to seal off the entire Qingjun Mountain. All the descendants of families who entered the mountain to search for treasures were captured by Qinglin's sect, tortured, and ultimately silenced. Qinglin's sect, self-proclaimed as a righteous and prestigious sect for miles abroad, never expected to resort to such bloodshed for the natural treasures of Qingjun Mountain. Chen says he already had some understanding of Qinglin's sect due to the incident with Xiaohua's broken engagement. Now, their Xiao family's main focus is to bide their time and prosper their lineage. Only when the number of spiritually gifted descendants in their family can their strength continue to grow. Otherwise, it would all be in vain. Li says he is wise and assures him he's learned his lesson. He says he'll take his leave, and 6 months later, the system congratulates Chen and explains that the number of his descendants has reached 400, triggering a choice. It asks him to select between option 1, where he acts for himself and explores Qingyan Mountain in secret for treasures, with the reward being 1 middle-grade spiritual year. Option 2 is to choose stability and development, avoid worldly conflicts, and decide not to take any risks for the same reward. Chen sees that the system wants him to go treasure hunting in Qingyan Mountain again and remarks that it's too dangerous now, considering Qinglan sect has completely surrounded it. Even though they haven't found any treasures so far, it's better to stay safe. He chooses option 2, and Chen remarks that only through stable growth and the prosperity of the Xiao family can he achieve his goals. Now, the system informs him that he only needs to place the vein on a regular mountain, and it will form a spiritual vein underground. Chen successfully places it on Xiao family's local mountain, and cheerily says the spiritual aura here is incredibly rich, almost mist-like. Chen says he should take advantage of this spiritual vein and begin his seclusion cultivation. On Chuniang Mountain, elderly Zunfeng of Qinglan sect slashes off someone's head and warns a group that these are the ones among them who've been slacking off. He tells them to remember this. If any of them slack off again, this will be their fate. He suddenly senses a strong spiritual aura and jumps up on the tree. The men ask Zunfeng what's happening, so he says this intense spiritual aura fluctuation is coming from the Xiao family's rear mountain. Zunfeng orders them all to continue watching and have the young laborers from various families keep searching for natural treasures. Zunfeng says he'll still go to the Xiao family's rear mountain and see what's causing this sudden spiritual aura disturbance. He swiftly rushes through the forest, remarking that as he gets closer to the Xiao family's rear mountain, the powerful spiritual aura fluctuation becomes even stronger. He must control his excitement, slow down, and conceal his own aura. For ordinary mortals, he has the power of life and death, but for other cultivators who might appear at any moment, he must be extremely cautious. The system informs Chen that it has detected the approach of elderly Zunfeng from Qinglan sect. Chen annoyingly wonders who this is and remarks that the influence of the spiritual sea is disturbing his tranquility. The system quickly informs him that Zunfeng is approaching and triggers the choice function. Option 1 is to directly slay him, accumulate combat experience, and receive a 3rd-grade high-quality magic treasure. Option 2 is to make friendly contact, receive a guest from afar, and obtain a 2nd-grade, high-quality magic treasure. Chen thinks about it and says he'll observe the situation quietly and not rush to make a choice. Zunfeng remarks that he's finally reached the Xiao family's rear mountain. After careful investigation, he hasn't found any other cultivators. He suddenly notices a low-grade spiritual vein and says if the sect master finds out that he's discovered a low-grade spiritual vein, the position of the Grand Elder will be within his grasp, and he might even gain priority usage rights for the core of the spiritual vein. By then, the golden core stage will be easily attainable, so he needs to return to Qinglan sect and report this immediately. Chen's voice asks Zunfeng where he comes from. Zunfeng is shocked to see that someone has actually evaded his detection and explains that he didn't expect this cultivation place to have an owner, so his intrusion was unintentional. He introduces himself as elderly Zunfeng of Qinglan sect and says he happened upon this place and kindly requests that he reveal himself. Chen reveals him and says he's just a humble cultivator named Shi Hao, remarking that he made up a name on the spot mainly to quickly send Li Shenfeng away. Zunfeng inwardly says since Chen managed to evade his direction, it suggests that Chen's strength is probably above his but not overwhelmingly so. After all, if he was a powerhouse, he would have perished long ago. He inwardly admits the name Shou is completely unfamiliar to him, indicating he might be a wandering cultivator. Zunfeng inwardly says trespassing into another's cultivation site is seen as a provocation in the cultivation world and is a grave offense. If the other party is powerful, he won't even bother with explanations. He'll just add one more casualty to this world, so as long as he catches Shi Hao off guard and kills him, the spiritual vein will be his. Then, he'll break through the golden core stage and become the sect's Grand Elder, so there's just a matter of time until that happens. Zunfeng offers Chen a high-quality, body-refining pill from him since he unintentionally intruded into his territory today, and asks him to consider this as an apology. He tells Chen he should come to the Qinglan sect to properly fulfill the role of a host and establish a good landlord's friendship. However, Chen remarks that every time this person sees dense and pure spiritual energy, greed is all you see in his eyes, but he never thought Zunfeng would actually offer an apology. He cheerily agrees that it all just a misunderstanding and says in the future, he'll certainly go to the Qinglan sect for the appointment. Zunfeng remarks that he can sense Chen's aura and his cultivation shouldn't be too high, but he's still a foundation-building cultivator, so he'll take advantage of the fact that he's unprepared, ambush a cultivation slightly higher in cultivation than him, and severely injure or kill him. He says he'll take his leave now since he has important matters to attend to in the sect, and says that 3 days from now, he'll extend another invitation for him to visit the Qinglan sect. As he's walking away, he remarks that he's determined to attain that spiritual vein while Chen sighs with relief since he can finally get rid of Li Zunfeng. Zunfeng tells himself that once he obtains this low-grade spiritual vein and returns to the sect, the Grand Elder and the Golden Core stage will beckon him. Chen senses that Zunfeng's murderous intent has increased and remarks that he's good at hiding his intentions. He thought he could finally get rid of him, but this Qinglan sect seems to be nothing but trouble. He decides to strike first and strike hard and summons a sword before rushing towards Zunfeng. A powerful pressure suddenly surges for Zunfeng and his heart inexplicably panics, warning him that danger is imminent. He shockingly looked down and saw that he had been stabbed in the chest, so he angrily asked Chen if he actually ambushed him, remarking that what he didn't expect was Chen to directly attack him. He remarks that the terrifying sharp sword energy shattered his internal organs, and although he's not dead immediately, he is close. Chen says he knows that Zunfeng wanted to kill him and take his spiritual vein and says since he wants to kill him, he can certainly do that as well, so Zunfeng's death is on him. Zunfeng weakly asks how he knew since he hid his true intentions really deeply but still got discovered. He asks Chen to spare him and admits he was blinded by greed, but he's a leader of the Qinglan sect, so Chen can't kill him because if he does, the Winglan sect won't spare him. However, Chen summons his sword and swiftly slashes off Zunfeng's head as Zunfeng shockingly realizes the headless corpse belongs to him. The system congratulates Chen and reveals that he has successfully chosen and received a reward, a third-grade high-quality treasure. Chen tells Zunfeng to not look so ugly in his next life, remarking that it looks like after he killed Zunfeng. The system defaulted to him choosing the first option and gave him this system's reward. He receives a Qiankan hood and smilingly says this is perfect for everyday use. As usual, he carefully inspected Li Shunfeng's storage pouch but only found a dozen or so spirit stones and some very basic elixirs, so he annoyingly calls him a miser. 3 months later, Li enters his father's room. Chen asks what he needs, so he says during this time they haven't been able to find the treasure in Qinjian Mountain, which is why the people of Qinglan sect have run out of patience and are preparing to leave. This morning, the last immortal of Qinglan sect also departed. Chen says he didn't expect everyone from Qinglan sect to leave, and it seems that the heavenly treasures can only be obtained by those with fate. He says the Qinjian Mountain has no immortals left now, so they should all work hard to expand the Xiao family. He says he will complain and will go inform all the young and strong members of the family. As he leaves, the system congratulates Chen for achieving 60 years of cultivation, 10,000 low-grade spirit stones, and unlocking the Heaven and Earth Dao field function. He wonders if the Heaven and Earth Dao field is a new feature and learns that it'll allow him to check everything inside the field at any time. He smilingly says this is like a hidden paradise and sees that his cultivation has also advanced to the 6th level of the Golden Core. The system informs him that the Heaven and Earth Dao field has detected the entry of a 1,000-year spirit ginseng and asks him to select. Option 1 is to immediately capture the spirit ginseng, and after consumption, it can increase his cultivation by 500 takes, with the reward being 300 years of cultivation and 9 transformations of the dragon technique. Choice 2 is to take it as a disciple, which will slowly enhance the Dao field spiritual energy, with the reward being 6 longevity pills and 9 turns of the heavenly spirit technique. It adds that a 1,000-year spirit ginseng is a ginseng that has absorbed the essence of the sun and moon for 1,000 years on Qingyun Mountain, containing the essence of plants and trees. It gained wisdom 200 years ago, successfully transformed 10 years ago, and its innate magical power is earth-escaping technique. Chen realizes this is the reassure the Qinglan sect has been diligently searching for and uses spiritual sense to find it. He remarks that it would be a waste to just swallow it like this, so he decides to subdue it. He flies off to the Xiao family's back mountain inside the Heaven and Earth Dao field. A child says the spiritual energy here is really rich and wonders if this could be some sort of celestial realm. Chen suddenly asks what he's searching for and if he needs the assistance of this old man, catching him off guard. He suddenly disappears, so Chen remarks that with this earth-escaping technique, he alone can come and go without a trace, and it's strange that Qinglan sect and various other clans' young disciples could find him, but this is the Heaven and Earth Dao field, his home turf. Since the spiritual energy inside the Dao field is the most concentrated, it not only benefits from the low-grade spiritual veins, but also the Dao field itself, so the richness here rivals that of major sects' hidden paradises. For treasures like the thousand-year ginseng, they have an irresistible attraction to such rich spiritual energy. He suddenly catches the child and says he's found him again while the child shockingly realizes that he's an immortal. Chen tells the child to not be afraid and says he has no intention of harming him. He picks up the child and gently touches him on the head. He asks the child if he would be willing to become his disciple and explains that if he becomes his disciple, he can roam freely in this mountain and not worry about any dangers, and he will impart to him the secrets of cultivating immortality so he can embark on the path of cultivation. When the child hears that he'll be able to cultivate immortality, he bows to Chen. The system congratulates Chen on a successful acceptance of the thousand-year spirit ginseng and rewards him with 6 elixirs of longevity and 9 transformations of heavenly arts. Chen cheerily tells the ginseng he's a good disciple and says, since he's the ginseng who transformed after 1,000 years, he shall bestow upon him the name Ginseng Child, and decides to give him a welcome gift as well. He says he shall teach him a set of techniques, the heavenly arts 9 transformations, which is a 3rd-tier high-level technique. Ginseng Child asks what the heavenly arts 9 transformations are, so Chen says he will know very soon and tells him to just relax his mind. He presses the child's forehead. He asks Ginseng Child if he can feel the scriptures in his mind, and he confirms it. The next day, Shen is teaching Ginseng Child when he hears Huo on the other side and asks why he's here. Hu enters and says he has come to bid farewell because he wishes to go out and explore. Searching for one's opportunities often requires embarking on a true adventurer, and he also thinks the 10-year agreement is excellent. The system detects that Hu has chosen to travel and triggers a choice. Option 1 is to reject Huo and teach him, with the reward being a 4th grade high-quality magic weapon, and Option 2 is to agree with Huo and go on a journey, with the reward being a 3rd grade high-quality magic weapon. Chen agrees with Huo and says a jade needs polishing to become a gem, so he tells Huo to go forth, but also advises him to be careful in all things and remember that the Xiao family will always be his solid harbor. Hu thanks him, and the system congratulates Chen for agreeing to let Huo travel. It rewards him with the Azure Dragon Sword, so Chen remarks that birds will eventually grow up. He tells Huo he wants to grant him a magic weapon and shows him the Azure Dragon Sword, saying he should use it during his solo journey. Huo thanks him, so Chen tells him to go forth and be cautious in all things and think carefully before acting. Outside, Huo determinedly says he will not disappoint Chen. Several months later, as Chen is sitting, he receives a notification from the system, stating that his descendant, Xiao Huo, had a fortuitous encounter, received guidance from a master, and thus greatly improved his cultivation. Chen is surprised to see this and sees that Huo is already at the 3rd level of foundation building. He wonders who could be so remarkable to accelerate Huo's progress so rapidly and mutters that it's almost as if he's cheating. In a cave, Huo is talking to a ring he's wearing, which tells him that as long as he continues to provide him with spiritual energy without interruption, it can help him become stronger. However, if he chooses to become his disciple, he will certainly impart all his knowledge to Huo. Huo bows to the ring and refers to it as his master, so he cheerily calls him an obedient disciple. Time flies by, and 10 years later in the Qinglin Mountain, Master Li Chungshan is meditating when he suddenly emits powerful blue light. A man says this is the heavenly tribulation and the sect master is about to break through the golden core stage. He orders everyone to quickly retreat as Li Chungshan rises into the air and remarks that all the spiritual energy of heaven and earth rapidly flows into his body and his aura is steadily rising. He sees that his aura has finally reached the peak of the golden core stage, and he successfully crossed the tribulation. At the Tongfeng sect sparing grounds, the servants quickly congratulate Chungshan for breaking through the golden core stage and wish for his martial journey to be prosperous. Nanoyun congratulates her master on smoothly passing the thunder tribulation and achieving the golden core stage, so he says he heard that a few years ago, she went to the Xiao family to break off her engagement. She confirms this and says she's made a 10-year pact with that mortal, Xiao Huo, since such an ordinary person is worlds apart from them, and she will make sure he realizes that he will never rise to the top. Meanwhile, at the Xiao family's rear mountain, the system congratulates Chen for having 1,000 descendants and gives him a reward, a ginseng fruit tree sapling that can be taken out. Chen contacts the spirit ginseng, who has grown up, to come to him. The spirit arrives, so Chen remarks that since he's a naturally nurtured spiritual being, its innate talent is astonishingly terrifying. Chen sees that he's making rapid progress and tells him to plant the ginseng fruit tree sapling in the courtyard. As he's planning it, Chen decides to take a look at the current situation of the Xiao family and is satisfied to see that it's thriving. Suddenly, he remembers that he hasn't had a goatee for a long time and decides to return to his room and continue his cultivation. The system informs him that the time for the 10-year pact with Xiao Huo is nearing and asks him to choose between 2 options. Chen remarks that 10 years have passed really quickly, and if it weren't for the system, the grass by his grave would be 3 feet tall by now, so surviving in this vast world is the greatest achievement. Option 1 is to launch a strong attack and help Huo successfully seize victory, with the reward being a 4th rank superior treasure and the supernatural ability 9 Revolutions Fiery Fist. Option 2 is to trust Huo and experience a great increase in strength by just deciding to stay hidden and not reveal himself, with the reward being the supernatural ability Sword Coming. Chen remarks that Huo has made significant progress and decides to go with option 2. In that case, the system congratulates him for receiving the Sword Coming supernatural ability. Meanwhile, in the Qinglin sect's sparring rounds, Yun faces off against Huo, who says he has come to fulfill the 10-year pact and declares that during these 10 years, he has grown into a strong and upright man. Yun tells him someone with such mediocre talent should not harbor any illusions, since the honor of the Qinglin sect must not be tarnished. She declares that he will die today and rushes towards him with her sky-cleaving sword technique. However, Huo swiftly blocks her attack and reveals that he's at the 6th stage of foundation building. The crowd realizes the person she considered a waste has reached the same cultivation level as her. Yun tells Huo to not forget that she has the backing of the Qinglin sect, but Huo sees that the Qinglin sect's talent is just as mediocre as her and uses his net move, Dragon Soaring Sword U91 Strikes. He declares that 9 sword energies converge in mid-air, forming a 5-clawed azure dragon, shocking Yun. She says she is the Qinglin sect's junior sect master and cannot lose face, so she decides to go all out and once again uses her sky-cleaving sword technique. Their attacks clash, and as the smoke clears, Huo is still standing while Yun is lying on the ground. Huo says she has lost the 10-year pact. She desperately asks him to not kill her and feels fear for the first time. However, Huo turns and leaves, shocking her. Yun remarks that she can never truly comprehend all the experiences Huo had these years, but she knows that the hardships he endured must have been greater than her own as the so-called junior sect master staying in the mountain. She sheds 2 clear tears, unsure of whether they were out of regret or shame. The junior sect master of the Qinglin sect tells Huo he insulted him and questions how they can just let him leave. He tells the sect master that if Huo leaves today, their Qinglin sect's reputation will be ruined, and another man questions how their Qinglin sect will be able to survive once news of today's event spreads. He says commoners are innocent, but upon entering the realm of immortals, they are considered guilty. Huo asks if that's the case, and says someone is forcing him to kill even if he doesn't want to do it. He brandishes his sword, remarking that among them, the elder with the highest cultivation is at the peak of the 9th stage of foundation building, and the lowest elder is at the 6th stage of foundation building. He just went through a fierce battle and his spiritual energy is depleted, but he has to face 10 opponents now, which puts him at a disadvantage. However, his cultivation suddenly skyrockets and he realizes he's reached the half-step golden core stage. The men of the Qinglin sect realize Huo is quite unusual since his cultivation has suddenly soared, even surpassing theirs. However, they tell each other to not be worried about him since such a sudden improvement is sure to have side effects. Huo remarks that he has the blessing of his master and swiftly attacks the men. He warily remarks that he forcefully unleashed the 2 dragons' 9 strikes again, and it feels scorching hot since all the spiritual energy in his body has completely dried up. He remarks that since he just sent the elders flying, this is his chance to escape from the Qinglin sect, but he suddenly senses a terrifying pressure from the golden core stage locking onto him. As Huo is running, Lishan declares that the Qinglin sect's reputation must not be tarnished and orders Huo to kneel down and apologize, and they might spare his life. Huo suddenly stops as he coughs out blood and mutters that the 10-year pact was nothing but a joke. He sees that he wasn't going to be allowed to leave the sect today, no matter what the outcome was of the battle. In that case, he tells Lishan to try and stop him from leaving the mountain. Lishan sees that he's stubborn and attacks him with an energy beam. The ring suddenly tells Huo to give him his body, declaring that the honor of their sect must not be tarnished and that no one can stop him. He tells Huo it's alright since he'll just have to sleep for a little while, and tells him to rely on himself for the next period. As the smoke from the beam disappears, Lishan is surprised to see that Huo disappeared and says he actually has a secret technique. Although he sensed it the moment he disappeared, his divine consciousness couldn't lock onto his location. He orders his servants to arrange for Elder 2 to lead a group and go to the Xiao family in Chunyun Mountain to wipe out the Xiao family, so they agree and depart. Meanwhile, on the other side, Huo is meditating in a cave. Several days later, in the Xiao family's rear mountain, Chen has reached the peak of the 9th stage golden core and remarks that today is the day to achieve the nascent soul stage. He rises to the air and unleashes a huge burst of power. Later, Chen has successfully passed the nascent soul stage, and the spirit ginseng asks if he's alright, so he smilingly says he's fine, and the nascent soul thunder tribulation was nothing. The spirit ginseng congratulates him on successfully entering the nascent soul stage and wishes for his marital path to prosper and for the thunder tribulation to no longer shake him. As Chen is looking at his stats, he remarks that he was once just an ordinary mortal, worrying about birth, aging, illness, and death, but now he possesses a lifespan of 1,000 years. The system suddenly detects the Qinglan sect disciples entering the Xiao family's territory and triggers two choices. Option 1 is to dare to act on their territory and directly attack to kill, with the reward being a 5th-rank superior treasure. Option 2 is to claim that he needs more time to develop and watch without interference, with the reward being a 4th-rank middle-grade treasure. Chen remarks that he should obviously choose option 2 if seeking stability, but if the Xiao family is no more and only remains, he questions what meaning there would be, since the descendants of the Xiao family should not allow outsiders to harm them. He chooses option 1 and looks over the stats of all the people invading. He sees that there are 10 people, and the strongest among them is the second elder at the 8th stage of foundation building, so they're just a bunch of small fries. The men from Qinglan discuss how the sect master has ordered that not a single person from the Xiao family should be spared, and that they should prevent Xiao Huohu from returning to the Xiao family with any preparations. As they get ready, Chen suddenly appears behind them and says the Qinglan sect claimed to be righteous, but he didn't expect them to be so cunning and malicious in their actions. He says he won't let them all off in that case. Shocked, the men hurriedly ask who he is and how he dares to speak so boldly. They declare that their sect master is a powerful figure in the golden core stage and ask Chen if he's not afraid of his tongue getting struck by lightning. Some of the men rush to attack him from behind, and the second elder smilingly says he thought Chen would be a more formidable opponent, but he's as good as dead now. However, Chen asks where his confidence is coming from and suddenly stabs all the 3 men trying to attack him. Shocked, the second elder asks what's going on and where that flying sword came from. He wonders if it's possible that the Xiao family has been laying an ambush here all along, so a man tells him to step back. Chen unexpectedly summons a barrage of flying swords, so the second elder hurriedly tells the man to escape and report to the family head that the Xiao family is unstoppable and this person is invincible. However, Chen swiftly kills them all and receives an azure cloud sword as his reward. Chen smilingly says his spiritual sword can be retired now that he has this azure cloud sword, and flies off. A few days later, in the Qinglan sect's council hall, Chungshen angrily asks who it is that dared to kill their Qinglan sect elders and says it seems this Xiao family is not to be underestimated. He says the second elder is at the 8th stage of foundation building, and there's also a group of disciples at the foundation stage that were all wiped out in a single move, so he must go to the Xiao family and see who this mysterious powerhouse really is. As Chen is meditating, he remarks that this kind of cultivation efficiency directly doubling is really amazing and views his personal information. He believes this is enough to support the Xiao family or generations with such a long lifespan, and says he's satisfied now that the family has so much wealth. He suddenly notices a golden core realm cultivator in the crowd and wonders what he's doing here. He checks his information and sees that he's Li Qungshan, the Qinglan sect master. He hurriedly remarks that this is like a time bomb, since it's all over if a golden core realm cultivator causes trouble in the Xiao family. He's already at the Yuan Ying stage, while Qingshan is just in the golden core stage, but it seems that this Winglan sect master can't be allowed to leave since only dead people aren't in danger right now. Meanwhile, as Qingshan is walking, he remarks that it's called the Xiao residence, but it's more like the inner city of Sunset City, so the Xiao family isn't simple at all. He sees that he'll need to investigate thoroughly, but a voice suddenly asks him what he thinks of the environment here. Surprised, Chungshan remarks that the Xiao family is indeed not as simple as it appears on the surface and tells himself to stay calm. He asks the fellow cultivator he's talking to if he's joking and says the spiritual energy in the Xiao family is like a paradise. However, this time, he intruded without invitation, so he must ask for forgiveness. He asks the voice to give this venerable one an opportunity for a face-to-face apology and reconciliation. Chen remarks that he's not afraid he'll be enticed and says he'll kill him if he dares to come here. He asks Chungshan why he's speaking of making amends and says this old man has prepared the finest tea in the Xiao family's rear mountain, so he asks him to come for a meeting in the Xiao family's rear mountain. Qingshan lands in front of Chen and smilingly introduces himself, so Shen also greets him and says he's the ancestral elder of the Xiao family. He asks him to have a seat and pours him some tea. Qingshan sees that the ancestral elder of the Xiao family is a cultivator and remarks that the pact of the last 10 years turned his beloved disciple into a cripple, all because of the Xiao family, remarking that he must kill Chen today. The system informs Chen that Qingshan's killing intent has increased, but he calmly drinks his tea. Qingshan praises Chen for achieving such greatness and possessing such formidable cultivation. He asks if he can inquire about his cultivation's strength since it's so formidable while his killing intent keeps increasing. Chen finally gives in and calls Qingshan a wretch, declaring that he'll definitely award him with a little golden statue once he's dead. Qingshan tells Chen his small abode is truly elegant and he admires it. Chen shows him a painting and says this was created by the Lord of the Brahmin North Femming Pavilion. The sword here is the famous 5th grade Azure Cloud sword that can cut iron like mud and is extremely rare. As for the crimson pearl flower, it's a precious flower from the Jiangsu region, and consuming it can increase one's power. Qingshan remarks that Chen has dealings with major clans from various regions, and yet no one can ascertain his master or lineage, so he's mysterious like a black hole. As for him, Chen cheerily says he's just a humble villager with no sect or lineage, and his cultivation is nothing special, only at the 2nd level of the golden core, which isn't worth mentioning, and inwardly tells Qingshan to greet his ancestors of 18 generations, since he'll be meeting them shortly. Qingshan remarks that regarding Chen's words, he's half believing him and half skeptical, but he's probed and found that there's only one cultivator in the Xiao family, Xiao Chen himself, and there aren't any signs of any other cultivators. Chen remarks that the spirit ginseng has reverted to its original form, and its aura is concealed, so it's nothing more than a wild white radish to Li Qingshan right now. Qingshan inwardly tells Chen to not blame him since Chen has no backing and only has a cultivation level of foundation establishment 2nd layer. He says meeting the ancestral master of the Xiao family is truly an honor, but he has another place to visit, so he won't disturb him any further. Chen senses that Qingshan's killing intent has increased again and remarks that the Qinglan sect is indeed filled with all sorts of people. He tells Qinglan to have a safe journey. Qingshan suddenly realizes his actual identity has been recognized and a sense of danger wells up within him. Chen suddenly summons his flying swords, shocking Qingshan, who realizes this is cultivation at the Yuanying stage before suddenly getting stabbed by numerous swords at once. Stunned, he remarks that he planned to ambush him, but he was ambushed first as Chen remained calm and launched a powerful attack him. Chen makes him explode and remarks that he scanned Qingshan with his divine sense and can already confirm that he couldn't have possibly survived that. He suddenly notices a fragment of Elder Wang Chu's Dark Souls Hall that was used to control Qingshan and admits he's never heard of it. However, since he is the puppet master controlling Qingshan, he deserves to die as well. The soul angrily asks who he is since he dared to kill their Dark Soul Hall's pawn. Chen sees that he's asking him and smilingly declares that he's his father before slashing through Wang Qu's soul. In the Dark Soul headquarters, Wang Q suddenly experiences the pain from his soul fragment dying and hurriedly eats some medicine. He declares that he will kill Chen for dating to do that to his fragment. He says he will skin him alive, peel his muscles, and then mincemeat filling before extracting his soul and burning it day and night in a blazing furnace where he won't be able to live or die. He says he will make his family endure this too, but remembers that there's still the Master's grand plan. He says can swallow this anger for now, and when the Master's plan succeeds, he'll make Chen pay. Several days later in the Qinglan sect, it's revealed that all the elders in the sect were slaughtered due to the disappearance of their Qinglan sect's master. The entire sect is now without a leader and every disciple is filled with anxiety. Yun remarks that only she knows that her master Li Qingshan went to the Xiao family. She sadly remarks that there's nothing that can make her regret go away, and now because of everything that happened with Xiao Huo, she's aged overnight and even her firm Diao heart has shattered. She reveals that because Qinglan sect usually acted overbearingly and offended many people, some clever disciples within the sect secretly looted the sect's resources and quietly left Qinglan sect. The remaining disciples all have their own plans, and soon the entire Qinglan sect will fall apart. Several days later, in a restaurant, some men are discussing how the Qinglan sect directly declared their destruction. A guy remembers how just a few days ago their sect master, Li Qingshan, was on the verge of entering the Golden Core stage. His friend feels that the Qinglan sect has definitely provoked some they shouldn't have, and he doesn't know who it is, but they must be extremely strong to directly wipe out the Qinglan sect. After all, Qinglan sect is the most powerful sect within a radius of thousands of kilometers, so who has the ability to completely destroy a sect like that? In the Xiao family's back mountain, Li is slowly walking up the stairs when Chen teleports him and asks what brings him here. Li remarks that the teleportation was really useful and reveals that the Qinglan sect has been destroyed. Chen says he knows since he was the one who destroyed them. Shocked, Li remarks that he didn't expect that his father could casually wipe out the entire Qinglan sect. Chen orders Li to gather all of the Xiao family's descendants with spiritual roots and then take them back to back mountains and have Ling Kanzi tech them celestial techniques, so Li agrees and says he'll do it right away. Chen tells him to go on while he continues his cultivation, so Li inwardly tells him to make sure he quickly arranges the tasks as instructed by Chen after he returns. Several hundred kilometers away from Qingjin Mountain, Chen remarks that after just over a month of recuperation along with various elixirs, he quickly recovered from most of his injuries, and he can now look for an opportunity to inquire about the news of Qinglin sect. At the foot of the Qinglin Mountain, Huohu is surprised to hear that the Qinglin sect has been annihilated, so a farmer tells him it was destroyed a long time ago, and they still don't know who did it. Huohu remarks that he didn't expect to hear that the Qinglin sect has already been destroyed after he just recovered from his injuries. However, this can also be considered his vengeance fulfilled for him. He asks his master where they should go next, so he says they're going to Tianxing Tower next. Huohu says that's great, remarking that he heard the old man mention it before. It's a top-tier power established by him and isn't something the Qinglin sect can compare to. 5 years later, the system informs Shen that the number of host descendants has reached 2,000 and congratulates him for obtaining the reward, the 4th grade superior magic treasure. Chasing cloud boots. Shen admits he didn't expect that the Xiao family would already have 2,000 descendants. He retrieves the chasing cloud boots and sees that they instantly conceal themselves when you wear them, as if they were never there. After a simple trial, Chen feels like his speed has increased at least twice as much as before and remarks that after these 5 years, the entire Qingyun Mountain already belongs to the Xiao family. Even the Sunset City has become the Xiao family's base. At the same time, there are many rumors outside, all of them saying that the Xiao family has a mysterious expert, and after these years of Ling Kanzi's teaching, any Xiao family disciple with spiritual roots has embarked on the path of cultivating immortality. So with the large number of descendants and numerous cultivators in the family, the Xiao family has now become the dominant power in this region. With such a long lifespan, he says it seems that living comfortably is way to go and decides to check the current status of others. He cheerily sees they've all reached the golden core stage and are truly gifted individuals, and becoming the master of the Tianxing Tower means there's great potential there, so they're truly worthy descendants of the Xiao family. He's surprised to see that his eldest son, Xiaoli, successfully reached the foundation building stage some time ago and decides to envelop the entire Xiao family with his divine sense. He finds Li and calls for him. When Li appears in front of him, Chen remarks that his son has truly embarked on the path of cultivation, and not only that, Li now appears with a healthy complexion. He tells Li he looks a bit younger than before and says he's a cultivator now, so when he sees Ling Qinazi later, Chen will have him transmit a cultivation technique to Li so that he can work hard in his future cultivation. Li agrees and says he's really excited, admitting he never that he would become a legendary immortal one day. As Chen is meditating alone, the system informs him that it's detected an aura ascendance and triggers a choice. Option 1 is to take them as a disciple for the sake of the Xiao family, with the reward being 1 5th grade medium grade Dao artifact. Chen remarks that this is the first time he's heard of the term Aura Ascendant and sees that the second option is to ignore and avoid them since they may bring calamity, with the reward for this being 1 4th grade low-grade Dao artifact. Chen remarks that the reward for taking them as a disciple is quite appealing, but he'll play it safe for now and observe. First, he'll extend his divine sense, covering the entirety of Qingyun Mountain at the nascent soul stage. Using divine sense, he teleports the Aura Ascendant to appear before him. The boy questions what this is, so Chen tells him to not worry since he won't harm him. The boy hurriedly asks who he is, so Chen introduces himself as the ancestral founder of the Xiao family and says he has observed his extraordinary marrow and realized he is a prodigious cultivator. He asks the boy if he'd be willing to become his disciple, so the boy slowly asks if there are any benefits to becoming his disciple. Chen cheerily says there are certainly many benefits and reveals that he will guide him on the path of cultivation, seeking immortality. The boy excitedly says even though he doesn't understand the last 3 words, becoming an immortal is really exciting, so he quickly gets down on the ground and refers to Chen as his master. The system congratulates Chen and gives him profound dragon armor as a reward. Chen calls him an obedient disciple and asks if he has a name. The boy shakes his head, so Chen says he'll be called Ju Kai from now on and asks how that sounds. Kai happily thanks him for giving him a name, and Chen takes a look at his information to see that he's an 8th rank spirit root, which means he's truly deserving of the title of Aura Ascendant. He summons Ling Kanzi and says from now on, it will be his responsibility to teach Shukai in his cultivation. In the Dark Soul Hall, a man breaks through to the nascent soul stage, so his disciples congratulate him. He consumes a pill to stabilize the injuries from the heavenly tribulation and says now that he's reached the nascent soul stage, it's time for the Ming Kingdom to change its master. His disciples praise him for the wise decision and say they will follow his orders, wishing for the heavens to protect the Dark Soul Hall for generations to come. The Hall Master orders them to gather all disciples and activate all hidden assets so that they can move swiftly to annihilate all the forces in the Ming Kingdom. A disciple informs that it seems like the Heavenly Star Tower has resurfaced recently. The Hall Master says they are nothing more than a pack of dogs, and he can simply eliminate them with a snap of his fingers. His disciple says he truly is magnificent and admits it was wrong of him to overthink things. 5 years later, Chen remarks that it's been 5 years since the Dark Soul Hall began its campaign to sweep away the influential forces of the Ming Kingdom. During these 5 years, his cultivation has reached the 6th stage of the nascent soul realm. Since the Qingjin Mountain, where the Xiao family is located, is relatively remote within the Ming Kingdom and there aren't any significant sects or forces nearby, the only formidable one, the Qinglin sect, has already been annihilated. Therefore, during the initial phase, they did not face the onslaught of the Dark Soul Hall. Ling Kanzi is instructing the Xiao family's descendants with spiritual roots, and most of them have entered the foundation building stage now. He tells his descendants they did well and gives them pills as rewards, saying these are various unused pills from previous system rewards. They thank him and he remarks that he can't help but smile when he sees the spiritual root descendants in front of him, because they are the future backbone of the Xiao family. Li, who has reached the 4th stage of Chu cultivation, appears and says he has an important matter to report. Chen tells him to not rush and to have a cup of fine hot tea first, so Li complies and reveals that the Dark Soul Hall has been attacking all the righteous sects in the Ming Kingdom for the past 5 years. Now, they have already destroyed dozens of smaller sects, and all the righteous sects have now united, so they're ready to confront the Dark Soul Temple and its great massacre formation together. Chen sees that it's the Dark Soul Hall again and mutters that first, Li Qingshan was chasing Xiao Huo, and now, the Dark Soul Hall is targeting all the righteous sects in the Ming Kingdom, so these demonic sects can't be trusted. He tells Li to restrain the clan's disciples and to not get involved in this matter, before adding that he shouldn't leave the Xiao family's territory either. Li agrees and says he will inform the family's disciples now, as Chen remarks that after hearing his report, he can't help but worry about Huo, since he's afraid he might encounter members of the Dark Soul Hall. He decides to check Huo's information and sees that Huo has successfully broken through to the 4th stage of the Golden Core stage. Chen smilingly sees that in just 5 years, Huo is already at the 4th level of the Golden Core, so with Xiao Huo's increased cultivation, it's safer for him to travel outside. He sees that Huo's cultivation has indeed reached the 4th level of the Golden Dan, and his spiritual root has been promoted to the 5th grade with the help of the Flame Emperor's destiny. Furthermore, he has mastered a brand new divine ability. He sees that he has an unread message and learns that Huo has successfully 10 members of the Dark Soul Hall and has also successfully set up an ambush and killed the Dark Soul Hall Elder Kang Ming. After that, it's stated that Huo used stealth tactics, killed 2 elders, and successfully escaped. Chen cheerily says it's impressive that he even killed Dark Soul Hall's elders and acknowledges that the Xiao family's children are truly exceptional. He admits Huo's growth is completely beyond his expectations and mutters that a sword's edge is sharpened by honing and the plum blossom fragrance comes from enduring the bitter cold, so some necessary honing is still required. Several months later, Chen learns that he has obtained a descendant with the potential for a great reincarnation, with the reward being the path of enlightenment tea tree. Chen learns that the tree tea is a natural spirit root that absorbs the essence of the sun and moon and has the effects of focusing the mind, calming the soul, and cleansing the spirit. Long-term consumption can improve talent and comprehension. Chen is surprised to see that the tea tree has so many benefits and says just hearing the name of it is enough to know that it's a natural spirit root like the ginseng fruit tree. After seeing these pleasantly surprising benefits, he admits he's become greatly interested in his great reincarnation descendant. Chen suddenly realizes it's actually an integrated stage great reincarnation and asks the system if Xiao Moruo will pose a threat to the Xiao family if he regains the memories of his past life, since he doesn't want any potential risk to jeopardize the development of the Xiao family. The system informs him that Xiao Moruo's actions, personality, and emotions are all led by the Xiao family descendants, so he smilingly says that's the answer he wanted and he can rest easy now. He summons Xiao Mohu Bows and asks what he needs from him. Chen shows him the path of enlightenment tea tree and tells him to plant it in the courtyard in the future to let everyone cultivate under it. Xiao Mu agrees and says he'll go complete the task he's assigned right away. In the Xiao family front courtyard, Li suddenly receives a divine message from Chen stating that the family descendant, Xiaomu, who has great talent and wisdom, should be taken care of. In the future, he tells Liu to bring Xiaomu to the back mountain so that he can be taught by Ling Kanzi. Li understands, so Chen says before continuing cultivation. He needs to entrust Ling Kanzi with this task to put his mind at ease. He asks Ling Kanzi to please make sure to teach Xiaomu diligently, so Kanzi agrees. Another 5 years later, Chen suddenly senses the surrounding spiritual energy gathering and surging into his body. He smilingly says he successfully broke through 3 levels of the small realm in 5 years. The 9th level of the nascent soul stage is progressing faster than expected but is still acceptable. In the courtyard, the ginseng tree and the Path of Enlightenment tea tree have both fully grown, and the Xiao family disciples greet Chen as he's walking. He sees that they've been diligent in their cultivation and gives them all rewards, remarking that these are various elixirs from the system's storage, and all of them are top quality, but they're of now use to him now that he's in the nascent soul stage. The descendants happily thank Chen for giving them these elixirs, so he smiles, but Li hurriedly appears and tells Chen something big is happening. Chen asks why he's in such a hurry, so Li is about to tell him something about the Dark Soul Hall. However, he suddenly feels a sudden darkness in front of him, and in the next moment, he finds himself and Chen sitting in Chen's room. Chen asks what's happened, so Li says the Dark Soul Hall has become incredibly powerful now. All the prominent righteous sects have united, but they are no match for them. He reveals that most of the Ming dynasty's territory has fallen, the Dark Soul Hall is extremely ruthless, and there are corpses everywhere like it's hell. Most importantly, it's about to reach their Qinjian mountain, but fortunately, a force called the Tianxing Power has emerged. They are confronting the Dark Soul Hall and slowing down their expansion. Chen says they better move quickly since it's about to reach Qinjian mountain, and as long as they have the mountain, they won't run out of firewood. After all, the other side has many people and the Lord of the Dark Soul Hall, even though he's not sure about his strength. He admits he's a little unsure since even all the righteous sects in the Ming dynasty aren't a match, and asks what the cultivation level is of the Lord of the Dark Soul Hall. Li says he's not entirely sure, but he's heard he's in the nascent soul stage and is incredibly powerful, so they shouldn't underestimate him. However, Chen says the fact that he's in the nascent soul stage is a relief and tells Li he may leave. He tells Li to report to him immediately if he finds anyone from the Dark Soul Hall and wonders if the owner of the Tianxing Tower isn't Hua Hu. He decides to take a look at his information panel and sees that Hu Hu has reached the 7th level of the Golden Core, which is quite reassuring. He checks his inbox to see that Hu Hu has killed the Dark Soul Hall's 4th Elder Gale Wind, 6th Elder, Dry Bones, and 36 other disciples. Chen worryingly says watching Hu Hu's conflicts with the Dark Soul Hall over the years makes it hard not to break into a sweat for him, and every time, it's like dancing on the edge of a knife. However, the rewards from such trials are immense, and are much stronger than those flowers nurtured in a greenhouse, so the Xiao family's descendants should be like this. He says his cultivation is only in the nascent soul stage, and it's still not secure. In that case, he'll break through the nascent soul stage. In the cave where Chen usually practices in seclusion, he hears Ling Shenzi and tells him to not wake him up unless the Xiao family is attacked by the Dark Soul Hall, since he's about to start closed-door cultivation to break through the nascent soul stage. He sits down and starts absorbing spiritual energy. A little over a year later in the Xiao family back mountain, the descendants notice that the sky is gathering heavenly tribulation clouds, which means Chen is finally about to break through. They quickly activate the teleportation array to send everyone 100 miles away, and as Chen rises into the air, he wonders if this is the nascent soul thunder tribulation. As the lightning is about to strike him, he suddenly stops it. Watching from afar, Li Kanzi admits Chen is truly extraordinary since he shows no fear of the thunder tribulation's might. Chen remarks that the first nascent soul thunder tribulation didn't inflict any harm on him, and he chose not to evade this thunder tribulation but to directly withstand it with his physical body to temper his flesh. The tingling sensation instantly spreads throughout his entire body, and Chen declares that this is refreshing. Once the tribulation is over, Chen decides to try releasing divine consciousness and remarks that the conscious of the nascent soul stage can cover the entire Qinjian mountain, and now, the divine consciousness in the divine transformation stage can cover tens of thousands of miles in radius. Moreover, the divine consciousness in the divine transformation stage can perceive everything around it more clearly. He sees that he can control the surrounding mana through the nascent soul and achieve the control of wind and rain on top of be able to show the power of heaven and earth. He says a strong man in the divine transformation stage can control thirds of the power of heaven and earth for his own use, and smilingly admits he can't help but feel more at ease. The system congratulates him for breaking through and rewards him with a divine power finger from the sky. Chen instantly teleports himself to the practice room in the back mountain and sees that the finger allows him to draw the power of heaven and earth, point it and destroy someone's both body and soul regardless of distance. It can also be positioned through the blood of descendants and cast from a distance. Chen cheerily says this finger is really terrifying and happily sees that he now has 5,000 years of life. Now, he decides to return to the cave and begin to stabilize the stage. 3 months later, Chen spreads out divine consciousness and covers the entire Qinjian mountain, but he senses some anomalies and realizes a stranger with demonic aura has appeared in the Xiao family city. He's surprised to find more than 20 disciples of the Dark Soul Hall and becomes infuriated, making his descendants sense the murderer's intent and intentionally released by him. Chen directly uses divine consciousness to target all the Dark Soul Hall disciples in the Xiao family city and teleport them in front of him. They suddenly appear, so he instantly kills them all and says their souls have been destroyed as well, so he continues to release his divine consciousness and check whether there's anyone else from the Dark Soul Hall within the Xiao family. Once he's confirmed that there's no one else, he summons Li and reveals that disciples of the Dark Soul Hall had entered the Xiao family city. Li admits he neglected the people who entered the Xiao family city since he was only focused on controlling their descendants, on not letting them leave the city at will. He angrily says he will find them all out, but Chen says doesn't need to worry about that since he's already killed them all. Xiao Li speaks to his father Xiao Chen with great respect. He acknowledges that Xiao Chen has ascended to the soul transformation stage and mentions that he knows that Xiao Chen's cultivation and strength now far surpass those of the Soul Hall Master. He expresses that having such a powerful backer is a true blessing for Xiao Clan. He thinks Xiao Clan will now become a place that no enemy can break into. He is sure that even if the Soul Hall Master himself comes, Xiao Chen could end the fight with one move. However, Xiao Chen responds with a very serious tone. He reminds his son that their family's most important rule is to be humble and not proud. He advises Xiao Li to always keep a calm heart. He then gives the order to make the defenses stronger for everyone entering Xiao Clan City. He also says the most important members of the clan need to improve their own protection too. Xiao Li immediately accepts his father's command. He says he understands the instructions and will follow them without fail. He then asks for permission to leave and carry out his duties. After his son departs, Xiao Chen goes to his special cultivation room in the back mountain. Using his powerful divine sense, he contacts Xiao Li again to give more details. He explains that he plans to continue his closed-door cultivation for a long time. He tells Xiao Li that he should report any important matters directly to him. He sets a schedule for a powerful divine sense sweep to check the entire Qinjian mountain area and all clan members every 3 months. He also makes it a rule that Xiao Li must personally come to the back mountain and report the clan situation every single month. A full year goes by peacefully. Then, Xiao Chen comes out from his cultivation room. The system suddenly sends him a notification with urgent news. It informs him that his descendant Xiao Huohuo is currently being chased by the Soul Hall Master. The system immediately gives him 2 different choices to make. The first choice is to destroy the Soul Hall for all the evil things they have done in the Ming Kingdom. This mission requires him to kill the Soul Hall Master, the evil old demon, and the reward is a top-grade 4th-tier treasure. The second choice is to do nothing because he trusts Xiao Huohuo and worries that getting involved will bring trouble to Xiao Clan. The reward for this inaction is a less powerful top-grade 3rd-tier treasure. Xiao Chen has been thinking about this decision for a long time. He remembers that 1 year ago, disciples from the Soul Hall sneaked into his clan, which was something he could not accept. Now, with Xiao Huohuo in danger, he decides this is the right time to see what happens and take action. He finally selects the first option. The system congratulates him and gives him the treasure, a top-grade 4th-tier magical item called the Corpse-Stopping Demon. Meanwhile, in the capital of the Ming Kingdom, Xiao Huo finds himself under fierce attack. He desperately calls out to his master through his ring, seeking a way to dispel the tracking curse placed on him. He reflects on recent events that under his command, the Heavenly Star Pavilion grew to become the #1 righteous sect in the Ming Kingdom. And now his plan was to unite all the good sects and deliver a powerful blow to the Soul Hall. However, when he tried to secretly investigate the Soul Hall's headquarters, a terrifying wave of divine sense blocked and attacked him. He recalls the frightening moment inside the Soul Hall. He had been discovered during his secret investigation. The evil old demon appeared right in front of him and told him that he had foolishly walked right into their trap. The evil old demon explained that he had personally placed a powerful life-chasing curse on Xiao Huo. He confidently stated that even if Xiao Huo could grow wings and fly, there would be no chance for him to escape their pursuit. Immediately, Xiao Huo realized that something bad is happening. He immediately jumped on his sword and flung into the sky, trying to get away, but the dark forces of the Soul Hall had reacted just as quickly. They had followed him into the air with terrifying, insane speed. Back in present, Xiaohuo has managed to keep some distance between himself and his pursuers. However, the evil old demon is very skilled at attacking from far away, which has forced Xiaohuo to keep running without any rest. Suddenly, the ring on his finger glows, and his master communicates with him, saying that there might be a way to escape this chase, but the method can only last for about 1 hour. Upon hearing this small piece of hopeful news, Xiaohuo decides his best strategy is to keep fleeing and try to use up that time. He knows he cannot let his focus drop for even a moment, because the one chasing him is the mighty Sol Hall Lord. He feels that one small mistake will mean his death, and he estimates his chances of living are very low. Then, from behind, one of the pursuers shouts his name. It turns out to be Wang Qiu, an elder of the Sol Hall who is wearing a horrifying red mask. Wang Qiu remembers the time he sent over 100 Sol Hall disciples to infiltrate Xiao clan, and how all of them mysteriously vanished. This event proved to him that Xiao clan is protected by a truly powerful expert. He has been both worried and curious about this legendary expert for a long time. Now he sees a chance to capture Xiaohuo and get revenge for past troubles. He shouts that he wants to tear Xiaohuo apart and make him suffer terribly. After saying this, Wang Qiu quickly starts chasing and directly attacks Xiaohuo. Elsewhere, the Soul Hall Master watches the events from a distance. He sees that Wang Qi has joined the pursuit, so he decides there is no need for him to act personally yet. He remains completely confident because the tracking curse he plays Xiaohuo means the young man can never truly hide from him. Being a proud nascent soul stage expert, he has already been defeated by this Golden Core Junior twice before. He cannot allow himself to be embarrassed a third time. Xiaohuo, who is running for his life, notices that the pressure from the evil old demon has faded. Only Wang Qi and demon pursuer still chasing him now. Wang Qi continues to shout terrible threats as he runs. He promises to tear out Xiaohuo's tendons, peel his skin, pull out his soul to burn it, and turn his body into a puppet. But when he sees that Xiaohuo only runs and does not fight back, he becomes angrier. He yells that the Soul Hall is a power that cannot be challenged. He reveals that more than 100 of his disciples are already hidden within Xiao clan, and boasts that with just one order from him, the entire Xiao clan will be destroyed completely. Xiaohuo turns around sharply upon hearing Wang Qiu's words, demanding to know what he just said. He reacts with fierce determination, vowing that any attempt to harm Xiao clan will force him to take extreme action. He declares that even destroying his own golden core is a price he will pay to eliminate this threat completely. Without any delay, he raises his sword and launches a powerful attack against Wang Qiu and other pursuers. Wang Qi immediately responds by shouting orders to his subordinates. He commands them to attack and capture Xiaohuo alive, promising a generous reward for their success. Internally, Wang Qiu fears that Xiaohuo might follow through on his threat to destroy his golden core. He worries that a destroyed golden core would ruin the body, making it impossible to refine Xiaohuo into a puppet, which would be a significant loss. This fear is the main reason he insists on a live capture. He also feels confident because the Soul Hall Master, a nascent soul expert, is backing him up. He believes a mere golden core cultivator like Xiaohuo cannot pose any real challenge under such circumstances. However, Xiaohuo's strength proves overwhelming against the ordinary Soul Hall disciples. They are like mere ants in comparison, and he single-handedly cuts down 10 of them with ease. Despite this, he soon finds himself surrounded by more enemies. In a burst of anger, Xiaohuo shouts at Wang Qiu, calling him an old thief and telling him prepare for death. He raises his sword high and an azure dragon materializes around him, enhancing his attack. Wang Qiu begins his counterattack just then, launching a fierce assault. The two sides clash violently, but the reality is that Xiaohuo is considerably weaker than Wang Qiu. Xiaohuo suffers multiple injuries during the exchange. Wang Qiu reveals that he had to damage a mid-grade third-tier defensive magical treasure to withstand the explosion from Xiaohuo's attack. Although Wang Qiu did not vomit blood like Xiaohuo, he acknowledges that his opponent is no pushover. From this single battle, Wang Qiu understands the vast disparity between them. Even though both are at the Golden Core stage, the difference in their power is like heaven and earth. As Xiaohuo uses medicine to heal his wounds, Wang Qiu reconsiders the situation. He does not want to end up dead under Xiaohuo's sword, even with the evil old demon's protection. After a moment of thought, he immediately turns and flees the scene. Xiaohuo shouts after him, insulting him as a dog and demanding that he does not escape. Wang Qiu, in response, calls out to his subordinates, ordering them to quickly stop Xiaohuo. He expresses frustration, calling them useless for their inability to hold Xiaohuo back. The Soul Hall Master observes the entire situation from a distance. He decides that it is time to take matters into his own hands. Using a special method, he instantly teleports to the location where Xiaohuo is fiercely attacking the remaining subordinates. He takes a step forward, surrounded by flames, and reveals himself menacingly. He declares that Xiao Huhua has caused enough trouble and immediately points his sword at him, ready to strike. Xiao Huhua senses the terrifying power of the nascent soul stage emanating from the Soul Hall Master. Wang Qiye, seeing this, renews his fierce attack on Xiao Huhua, believing that with the Hall Master involved, Xiao Huhua is as good as captured, like a fish on a chopping block. Xiao Huo starts to feel that something is very wrong. He experiences a horrifying sensation of being surrounded by an endless sea of blood and mountains of corpses. The overwhelming nascent soul energy makes him fear that the situation is becoming dire and grim. Xiao Huo kneels on the ground in despair. He mutters quietly to himself, addressing his master. He expresses that he can only repay his master's kindness in the next life. He regrets that he might have to break his promise to rebuild his master's body and revive the Heavenly Star Pavilion. He feels something is definitely wrong inside his body, and he senses death approaching from all sides, with the evil old demon closing in. At that critical moment, a silver-haired man suddenly appears. He refers to Xiao Huo as his disciple and states that he has already passed on all his knowledge to him. He announces that today, he will resolve this long-standing grudge personally. The evil old demon quickly recognizes the silver-haired man as Yao Lingzi. He expresses surprise that a fragment of Yao Lingzi's soul has remained from their past encounters. The evil old demon vows to send both master and disciple to their deaths together so they can accompany each other in the afterlife. He recognized him because of their history. It also explains why Xiao Huo is so proficient in the Soul Hall's techniques, as Yao Lingzi was once connected to them. Yao Lingzi declares from the sky that he is willing to use the remaining fragment of his soul in exchange for his disciple Xiao Huo's life. He adds that even if their souls are scattered, they will force the evil old demon into seclusion for 100 years. Xiao Huo attempts to stop his master, but he cannot find the words to continue. Wang Qiu quickly reminds the evil old demon that they must not let Yao Lingzi and Xiao Huo escape, describing them as the greatest enemies of the Soul Hall. The evil old demon draws his sword without another word. He recalls how he carelessly let Yao Lingzi escape in the past. He vows that this time, even if Yao Lingzi sprouts wings, there will be no escape. Then, he attacks with the overwhelming pressure of his nascent soul stage cultivation. This powerful assault causes Xiao Huo to vomit blood from the force. Seeing his disciple severely injured, Yao Lingzi expresses his desperation. He tells a Xiao Huo that he will use his remaining soul to hold the enemies back and urges him to run away quickly. However, Xiao Huo remains leaning on his sword, standing his ground and refusing to leave. Yao Lingzi looks directly at his disciple and sees a face filled with determination, resolved to stay and fight alongside him. Xiao Huo firmly states that he will not go and that master and disciple will live and die together today. The evil old demon gathers his energy once more. He announces that if they still wish to fight, he will grant their wish. He immediately launches another fierce attack directed at both Xiao Huo and Yao Lingzi. They become enveloped in a crimson light that surges toward Xiao Huo with intense force. Xiao Huo feels determined to fight back with all his might, believing this will be the last time they battle side by side. He uses the soul extermination sword strike, resulting in a flash of golden light and a loud explosion before everything vanishes. After exhausting all his energy, Xiao Huo vomits a large amount of blood and collapses to the ground. Yao Lingzi rushes over to his disciple, calling him his foolish disciple in a sorrowful tone. Just then, Xiao Huo remembers his ancestor and laments that he cannot personally recount the experiences of the past years to him. The evil old demon appears before them, frowning and dismissively remarking that a brat remains just a brat. Xiao Huo starts to mumble about his master and ancestor, expressing that he feels very sleepy. Yao Lingzi rushes over again, urgently telling his disciple not to sleep, but Xiao Huo ultimately falls unconscious. Seeing his disciple in this state, Yao Lingzi cannot bear the pain any longer. He assures Xiao Huo that it is alright and that he will go with him. Yao Lingzi immediately self-detonates his golden core, causing the sky to instantly darken. The evil old demon observes the strange phenomenon in the sky and wonders which fellow Taoist has graced them with their presence, making everyone present curious. Xiao Huo opens his eyes and witnesses a giant finger pointing toward him. The next second, a black vortex attacks the others nearby. Both Yao Lingzi and Xiao Huo have no understanding of who has caused all this, and the evil old demon starts vomiting blood from the unexpected assault. The evil old demon feels immense fear toward the terrifying figure before him. He immediately addresses the Venerable One, expressing confusion over the attack since he believes they share no grievance or enmity. The overwhelming pressure he experiences is far beyond what any nascent soul cultivator can endure, confirming that this unseen expert must be at least at the soul transformation stage. Xiao Chen looks down from his elevated position, calmly explaining that the Soul Hall has committed countless evils and caused widespread suffering among living beings. He justifies his lethal actions as necessary for justice. Xiao Huo recognizes the voice and tone as strangely familiar, noticing a disguised quality yet feeling an intimate connection that reminds him strongly of his ancestor's voice. The evil old demon quickly drops to his knees in submission. He pleads with the Venerable One, acknowledging the strong often bully the weak, and offers the entire Soul Hall as a gift in exchange for his life, suggesting it could help conquer the world. Xiao Chen refuses this proposal without hesitation. He points a finger at the evil old demon, uttering a single command for death, and the gesture crushes everything, including the evil old demon's nascent soul. A look of excitement crosses Xiao Chen's face as he observes the evil old demon's desperate move. In a moment of crisis, the evil old demon abandons his physical body, allowing his nascent soul to escape in hopes of finding a chance for rebirth. However, Xiao Chen notes that the evil old demon has no idea what he is truly up against. Xiao Chen mockingly comments on the futile attempt to flee. Xiao Chen launches another attack to prevent the evil old demon's escape. He calls out to Xiao Huo, who promptly rises, draws his sword, and lunges toward the fleeing nascent soul. The evil old demon yells out in panic, insisting that they cannot kill him. He warns that his death would mean no one remains to offer tributes, dooming everyone present. Xiao Chen shows surprise at the mention of tributes and demands an explanation. The evil old demon begins to elaborate, revealing that beyond the Ming Kingdom, there are hundreds of other nations on the continent, all serving as farms. He explains that people will eventually come to collect tributes, and if he dies, those people will discover the disruption. This terrifying truth is his final secret. Everyone falls into a stunned silence with a sense of unease growing among them. Xiao Chen thinks deeply about the concept of farms and presses for clearer details on the nature of these tributes. The evil old demon responds that cultivators from the Ming Kingdom possess exceptionally high talent, and those with strong spiritual roots are the tributes. He admits the Soul Hall has always been responsible for transporting these tributes in exchange for benefits. He warns that his death would trigger an invasion of the Ming Kingdom, leading to utter chaos, widespread death, and corpses everywhere, with no one willing to bear the responsibility. Xiao Chen ponders these words carefully. He reflects on his own great merit and exceptionally high talent, realizing Xiao clan is brimming with similar talent, likely making them the tributes mentioned. Suddenly, a system notification appears, detecting an unexpected event and presenting choices. The first choice is to accept the evil old demon's proposal, turn him into a puppet to control the Soul Hall, and get closer to the truth, with a reward of a third-grade high-level magical treasure. The second choice is to reject the proposal and lead Xiao clan to face the impending danger, with a reward of a second-grade high-level magical treasure. The system congratulates Xiao Shen for receiving the second-grade high-level magical treasure Rivers and Mountains diagram. In truth, Xiao Chen had chosen the second option from the start. He believes the evil old demon must die without doubt, reasoning that sparing his life could allow contact with tribute collectors, putting Xiao clan in greater danger. Since the Ming Kingdom is already targeted, the evil old demon's life or death has little impact, and if enemies invade, the people will rise up and resist. Xiao Huo also makes up his mind, feeling initial hesitation but now firmly wanting to kill the evil old demon after hearing the explanation. He hastily thanks the Venerable One for the assistance, expressing uncertainty on how to repay the favor. Xiao Chen continues to conceal his identity, advising Xiao Huo to become stronger and emphasizing that if he is indeed a tribute, he must have enough strength to protect himself. After saying this, Xiao Chen vanishes from sight. Xiao Huo then turns to Yao Lingzi, asking if the evil old demon was telling the truth. Yao Lingzi reveals that he originally planned to share these truths after Xiao Huo became stronger, but now that he knows, he must work even harder. Xiao Huo remains doubtful, curious about the tribute collectors and whether they are powerful beings comparable to gods. Yao Lingzi admits he has never seen them personally, noting the evil old demon was helped by those people initially. Xiao Huo wonders if the Venerable One will help them too, but Yao Lingzi advises that no one is better than oneself, and only by becoming stronger can one protect themselves and others. Xiao Huo deeply understands his master's words, accepting that he must become stronger to protect his closest relatives. He decides to write a letter to inform his ancestor about these developments. Meanwhile, Xiao Chen stands at the foot of a mountain, gazing toward the sunset, reflecting on the terrifying matter affecting the Ming Kingdom. He recalls concealing his identity to kill the evil old demon to avoid exposure, but now worries his descendants might be exposed one after another. He resolves to help them grow stronger or live in hiding, noting his own cultivation has grown powerful. He refuses to let anyone capture his descendants, drawing on Xiao clan's unyielding spirit, and vows to become strong enough to slay all enemies. Xiao Chen immediately summons Steward Fu, who appears at once. Xiao Shen instructs him to encourage Xiao clan to bear more children, offering rewards such as top-grade medicinal pills for any daughter-in-law who gives birth, and high-grade cultivation techniques if the child is born with a spiritual root. He orders all Xiao clan men to diligently remain in their rooms at night, with laziness punishable by clan law. Steward Fu understands the meaning and replies that he will inform everyone. That night, in the town of Xiao Clan 100 miles away, many people enjoy themselves, leaving the guards speechless. The next morning, the short-haired man wakes up, astonished to see the mountain split in two. 1 year later, at Xiao Clan, Xiao Chen continues his diligent cultivation. Despite the short time, he finds the process extremely tiring. He feels a little fatigued, with his eyes drooping slightly. He reflects on reaching stage 2 of nascent soul, noting that it took a full year to break through. He considers this speed too slow for his ambitions. He resolves to continue expanding the clan by taking more wives and concubines to quickly have children. As the ancestor, he always has several matters weighing on his mind. He cultivates while worrying and thinking, expressing strong hope that his underage grandchildren and great-grandchildren will grow up quickly. He acknowledges that outsiders would be shocked by his progress, as advancing each stage in the nascent soul realm typically takes at least 15 years. Achieving it in just 1 year is unprecedented. This thought delights and invigorates him, bringing a smile to his face. He decides to check on the cultivation realm of Xiao Mai using the system. The system displays Xiao Mei's details: name, human race, 6th grade, spiritual root aptitude, mastered techniques including Dragon Yang sword, scripture, and others, cultivation at foundation establishment stage 8, special identity as a reincarnated master of the integration stage, and awakened innate sword body physique. Xiao Chen feels deeply shocked by this astonishing progress. His eyes widen in surprise at Xiao Mai reaching foundation establishment stage 8 in just 1 short year. He remarks on how truly remarkable this is, attributing the techniques likely to memories from Xiao Mei's past life. He notes that the mountains and rivers diagram is very suitable for him and believes that with continued cultivation, Xiao Mei will become a hero of Xiao Clan, reducing one of his worries. Xiao Chen then turns his attention to another descendant who has left his protection, feeling even more concerned. He checks on Xiao Huhu's situation, remembering that Huhu is the first of Xiao Clan to go out for training and wondering how he is doing now. The system shows Xiao Huhu's details: name, aim, human race, mass techniques like flying dragon 9 swords and others, magical treasures including the azure dragon sword and profulent flame needle, cultivation at golden core stage 9, identity as lord of the heavenly star tower and leader of the 36 sects of the Ming kingdom, and special flame emperor destiny. Xiao Chen carefully examines each line, feeling very pleased to see the boy has reached golden core stage 9 and gained considerable influence in the Ming kingdom. In the middle of reading, Xiao Li arrives to report that a guest has come. Xiao Chen asks suspiciously who the guest is and why Xiao Li cannot receive them himself. Xiao Li's expression is extremely tense, with his facial muscles completely slack, showing hesitation and indecisiveness. He explains that the guest is from the Ming Kingdom's royal family, thinking silently that someone of such special status is beyond his qualifications to receive. Xiao Chen curls his lip, not paying much attention to the matter, asserting that even if the emperor himself came, Xiao Li should still receive them. Xiao Li immediately interjects to further explain the situation, revealing that the royal family member has come to propose marriage. Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen finally leaves his seat, standing up somewhat reluctantly to receive the guest. He wonders who the proposal is for and which Xiao Clan woman has been in contact with the royal family. Xiao Li replies that it is none, but rather Princess Wenhua has feelings for Xiao Huhu and wants to propose marriage. The sensitive system pops up with numbers, detecting Xiao Huhu's destined relationship and activating a selection. The choices are to go with the flow and calmly observe for a reward of a high-grade magical treasure, purple sandalwood auspicious wood, or to take charge of the situation and arrange the marriage for a reward of the divine ability, body-splitting technique. Xiao Chen reads this and makes his decision almost without hesitation. Selecting the second option, the system congratulates him, and he receives the body-splitting technique reward. He smiles brightly like a bountiful harvest, pleased that someone has taken a liking to Huo, especially of royal lineage. Seeing this, Xiao Li remains silent, guessing the reason for his father's joy and feeling happy for him. Xiao Li asks if his father agrees, noting the seriousness of the matter as Xiao Clan men are busy having children, and Huo, being outside, might not shoulder this responsibility. Xiao Chen expresses a desire to see if they can have Huo return, believing it would be a good thing. In the guest hall, Princess Wenhua waits with elegance and royal demeanor. Hearing someone arrive, she turns her head to look, lightly biting her lip as she observes Xiao Chen and several Xiao Clan descendants appearing with a solemn air to welcome her. She politely stands up and respectfully greets him as ancestor. Xiao Chen responds with a beaming smile, saying she is too polite since she is still a member of the royal family and not yet married into Xiao Clan, so formalities are unnecessary. He gestures with his hand, feeling very satisfied with her, finding her very agreeable. Unexpectedly, the princess declares loudly that she has feelings for Xiao Huao and will marry no one but him, considering herself already a member of Xiao Clan. Xiao Chen smiles, secretly appraising her as an ideal daughter-in-law. He thinks of his great-grandson, Xiao Huo, recalling that after the evil old demon died, Hu dealt with the Soul Hall remnants. To form a more powerful force against unknown enemies, Hu began cooperating with other sects, becoming the leader of 36 sects within a year. The princess recounts the events of last month in a flashback. The royal family suddenly encountered a disaster, and she fled the palace only to be pursued. Just at that critical moment, Xiao Hu saved her. Her voice becomes increasingly emotional as she explains that from that moment, she developed feelings for him. After investigating the identity of the person she loved, she made up her mind to marry no one but Xiao Huo. But Xiao Chen and Xiao Li are both match very pleased, calling his mate in heaven. Xiao Chen orders in his name to write a letter and have Hu return. Xiao Li accepts the order and immediately carries it out. Suddenly, an uninvited guest arrives with a group of royal soldiers. They have come looking for the princess. The guest addresses the princess, stating that finding her was truly difficult, and if she does not return, the guest will be beheaded. The princess replies that the royal family should know she will only marry Xiao Hu in this life, and no one else, or they can bring back her corpse. Someone besides Xiao Li whispers that there seems to be more to this situation. Xiao Chen appears annoyed, wondering if the royal family does not approve, despite Xiao clan being different now and Hu's widespread reputation. He frowns, puzzled over why the Ming Kingdom's royal family would refuse. Princess Wenhua suddenly kneels down, seeming to understand Xiao Chen's worries. She assures him that she is a member of Xiao clan in life and will be a ghost of Xiao clan in death, with no one able to change her mind. However, just then, a voice colder than ice rings out, threatening to annihilate the entire Xiao clan if she marries into it. Xiao Chen grows furious at this, and wonders who dares to destroy the dignified Xiao family. Having reached his limit, he stands up and roars about the audacity of the threat. He questions who gave them the courage to speak such nonsense in Xiao clan territory. He emphasizes that Xiao clan is now like the midday sun with unfathomable strength, and they cannot allow others to criticize them. Princess Wenhua angrily rebukes her royal uncle, who is behind the threat, stating that even if he comes personally to take her, she will not change her mind. She declares that in this life, if she cannot marry Xiao Huo, she will not marry at all. She recalls a flashback from a few days ago when assassins attacked the royal family. When she fled the palace, she was ambushed and surrounded by assassins. And Xiao Huo saved her at the critical moment. She believes this is fate and the predestined affinity between them. Xiao Chen silently assesses the situation, noting that all these people are from the royal family. Their luxurious attire clearly indicates their high status. The leader arrogantly and coldly looks at Princess Wenhua, and it turns out to be the emperor's younger brother, Prince Gongshan. Ignoring his status as an elder, Prince Gongshan rages about how impudent she is. He explains that the Liang Kingdom has already sent betrothal gifts and is preparing to welcome her, so they must honor the agreement between the two countries and not go back on their word. Those behind him echo his sentiments, advising the princess to fulfill her duty and go through with the arranged marriage. The princess argues relentlessly, refusing to yield. She accuses her uncle of bringing the Liang Kingdom's envoy into the palace, visiting her, and pressuring her father into agreeing to the marriage alliance. She insists that her destiny is her own, and who she marries is her decision. By now, Xiao Chen pieces together the situation. According to Princess Wenhua, Prince Gongshan is acting rather suspiciously. But regardless, Xiao Hu's destined love has arrived. As Xiao clan's ancestor, he cannot let this opportunity slip away. He decides to speak up and demand fairness, stating that even if the entire royal family or the whole world opposes this marriage, he will officiate it. He announces that today, they will first pay respects to their ancestors in the ancestral hall. Then, Princess Wenhua will stay temporarily at Xiao clan, and the wedding will be held tomorrow. The princess joyfully agrees. Her royal uncle does not. He certainly had not anticipated this outcome. Princess Wenhua turns and leaves with Xiao clan, leaving him fuming in impotence. He expresses anger that Xiao clan dares to disobey his orders. He follows them all the way to Xiao clan's ancestral hall. Xiao Chen remains polite, asking if he will leave on his own or if they need to escort him out. Prince Gongshan seethes, remarking that Xiao clan is truly arrogant and telling them not to forget who rules the Ming Kingdom. He warns them to wait for consequences. Xiao Chen no longer holds back, directly dismissing him by reminding him not forget who the emperor of the Ming Kingdom is and whose daughter Princess Wenhua is. He gestures toward the door and asks him to leave. Prince Gongshan's men try to de-escalate the situation, speaking softly about Xiao Hu's strength, noting that he single-handedly subdued 36 sects and commands their loyalty, with a unique position in the kingdom. They warn that taking action now would be troublesome, and if those sects intervene, they will be at a disadvantage. Prince Gongshan leaves but not without a parting threat, telling them to wait. At Prince Gongshan's residence, The royal uncle is practicing calligraphy when a mysterious figure suddenly appears, startling him. The figure asks about Princess Wenhua's whereabouts and why she has not returned. Prince Gongshin speaks subserviently to this person, explaining that the stubborn girl refused to come back and Xiao clan took her away. He assures the envoy that he will deliver the girl to the Lion Kingdom and not disappoint the crown prince. The other person replies with a warning, stating that the crown prince prefers his flowers unbloomed, and if anything goes wrong, Prince Gongshin should pray for his own sake. The figure leaves, and Prince Gongshin looks up, drenched in cold sweat. Finding the room empty, he begins to curse Xiao clan in his rage, targeting Xiao Hua specifically. He reveals that he sent assassins to the royal palace and went through much trouble to capture Princess Wenhua, but Xiao Hou ruined everything. He vows that Xiao Hou marrying her absolutely cannot happen. Meanwhile, an unusual quiet falls over Xiao clan. Xiao Chen personally escorts the princess. Noting that now she has paid respects at the ancestral hall, she will stay the night at Xiao clan. He guides her to her accommodations. The next morning, Xiao clan bustles with preparations for Xiao Huhua's wedding. Xiao Huhua has just returned, still bewildered by the sudden turn of events. Someone comes to greet him at the main gate, informing him to meet his bride. Princess Wenhua is waiting. Xiao Huhu looks at her in surprise, then knowingly excuses himself. Others comment humorously that the chance encounter seems to have sparked something between them. At Qingjin Mountain, Xiao Chen is also making his own preparations. Before him is the treasure obtained from the system, the divine puppet clone technique. A clone identical to him in every way appears, mimicking his every move. He thinks it is not bad, as the clone shares his consciousness for precise control and looks exactly like him. He performs a standard test by waving his hand and the puppet moves. After infusing it with life force, it even possesses foundation establishment cultivation. He decides to use this technique for added safety. Standing atop the mountain, he announces loudly for all Xiao clan descendants to hear that the wedding ceremony begins, and Xiao clan welcomes a new member. Amidst everyone's blessings, Princess Wenhua and Xiao Huo enter. A series of rituals follows, including bowing to heaven and earth, bowing to the ancestors, and the exchange of vows between husband and wife. Amidst the joyous occasion, the system alerts him. It detects Prince Gongshin approaching with his subordinates and senses malicious intent. It activates the choice function. The first choice is to eliminate them directly, gaining combat experience and receiving a top, grade 3rd tier magical treasure. The second choice is to inform Xiao Huo and let him handle it, completely eliminating the threat posed by Prince Gongshin and receiving a top grade 2nd tier magical treasure. He makes his choice, thinking that on such a joyous day, Princess Wenhua's uncle comes to cause trouble. In the past, he would have stayed home and let Huo lead the 36 sects to eliminate the threat. But now, with the puppet clone, he can handle Prince Gongshin's group himself. After all, everyone sees him presiding over the wedding ceremony, so if Prince Gongshin dies, it has nothing to do with him. He uses instantaneous travel. Outside Xiao clan, the royal guards lie in wait. Prince Gongshin commands them to kill everyone inside and make a grand statement. He notes that the 36 sects know about Xiao Huhua's wedding and are on their way, so they must seize the princess before they arrive. He warns that, if they miss this opportunity, none of them will live to see another day, and he orders them to go and kill. Just as they are brimming with aggression, a surge of energy shatters the ground before them, bringing them to an abrupt halt. It is Xiao Shen. He speaks coldly, stating that they want to kill members of Xiao clan and seem to wish to be reduced to ashes. Xiao Chen calmly clasps his hands behind his back and speaks softly. He states that today is Xiao clan's grand wedding, and with him there, no one will cause any trouble. Prince Gongshin scoffs at this, asking if it is just him. The men with Prince Gongshin laugh loudly at the claim. Prince Gongshin spreads his arms and puffs out his chest with confidence. He boasts that these men are all elites chosen from the sects of the Ming Kingdom. He adds that each of them is at least late-stage golden core or half-step nascent soul in cultivation. He points directly at Xiao Chen, gnashing his teeth in anger. He claims that even Xiao Huhu of Xiao clan is only at the 9th level of golden core. He believes that even if Xiao Huhu were here, he would not be a match for them. He demands to know who Xiao Shen is to speak such arrogant words before him. Although he says that, his heart is in turmoil. He thinks that this time, to capture Princess Wenhua, he brought almost all his men. He fears that if something goes wrong again and he cannot deliver her to the crown prince of the Liang Kingdom, he will surely die. Xiao Chen responds with a knowing smile. He repeats the prince's words about their strongest being only half-step nascent soul. He and his troops immediately fall silent at this remark. One of the prince's accomplices speaks up, claiming Xiao clan's power has weakened. He says today is their last day of celebration and questions what right Xiao Chen has to look down on anyone. Another agrees, saying he thinks Xiao Chen is just bluffing and trying to buy time for Xiao clan. They suggest that dealing with him alone is enough and they do not need to get involved. The one who just spoke is Jing Wei the Immortal. The princess's uncle urges Jing Wei the Immortal to go and quickly deal with Xiao Chen. Jing Wei the Immortal, having received the order, charges forward. He tells Xiao Chen that wanting to live in this world will not be easy if he keeps seeking death. He assures him that Xiao clan will soon be buried with him. Xiao Chen feels bored with this kind of boasting. He impatiently raises his hand. Jing Wei the Immortal suddenly freezes, caught by surprise. The uncle is also stunned, wondering why he is not moving. At this moment, Xiao Chen steps forward until he is only a step away from Jing Wei the Immortal. He gently points his index finger at his forehead. Jing Wei the Immortal sees it but cannot dodge. For someone who cannot control their own actions, just a flick of the wrist from Xiao Chen is enough to send him flying. Jing Wei the Immortal falls lifeless. With just one move, a life vanishes from the world, leaving the royal entourage stunned. They stare in disbelief. The one who was so arrogant turns pale, unable to believe his eyes. He wonders how this could be. Xiao Chen does not want to waste too much effort. He glances coldly at the group and tells them not to bother with formalities and to come at him altogether. A night beside the prince proves that Xiao Chen is definitely a cultivator and his strength is not ordinary, possibly late-stage golden core. They decide to send a nascent soul expert to kill him. It is time for the prince to play his trump card. He softly commands Master Zhang to make his move. The person he trusts is Hong Lang, a half-step nascent soul realm cultivator. Hong Lang's eyes narrow to slits. Without any nonsense, he launches a ferocious attack, thinking Xiao Clan is finished. Spiritual energy erupts from him. Xiao Chen does not move from his spot, remaining where he stands. Only his hand moves, absorbing energy from all directions. All the energy quickly swirls into a small ball the size of his fist. Master Zhang is stunned. Before he can even savor the feeling of entering the battle, his weapon is withdrawn. The feeling of shock is like someone running at full speed suddenly losing their balance. He looks around, swinging his arms, but he cannot recover his strength. He wonders where his spiritual energy has gone. Suddenly, he realizes something and stops searching aimlessly. His entire face stiffens, and he yells out in shock, beginning to ask if his Xiao Chen could be. Xiao Chen feels it is a waste of time. With an expressionless face, he simply says for him to die. The man suddenly falls backward, vomiting blood and dying, his fate no different from the previous one. He lies sprawled on the ground without a word of farewell. Seeing this, the royal knights dare not approach. At this point, escape is impossible for them. Having started, they have to see it through. Their leader urges the hesitant soldiers forward, asking what they are waiting for. He claims that Xiao Chen cannot be stronger than Xiao Huohuo, and that this is definitely a Xiao clan trick. He insists they cannot have any more tricks up their sleeves and reminds them there is a whole squad behind. He orders all of them to attack and kill Xiao Chen. The soldiers draw their swords. Each one grits their teeth and advances. As they approach Xiao Chen, they shout to kill and attack. Xiao Chen waves his hand casually, his expression unchanged. In an instant, the mighty squad falls like straw. Only the royal who'd been giving orders remains. He is terrified, stammering about how this could be possible. Xiao Chen turns his gaze towards him, preparing to strike again. He states that nothing is impossible and that the royal should be on his way too. The royal, utterly terrified, desperately searches for a way out. He asks if Xiao Chen dares to kill him, emphasizing that he is of the royal bloodline. He threatens that if he is killed, Xiao Chen's entire clan will be exterminated. Hearing this, Xiao Chen sneers at the idea of extermination. He points out that Xiao clan's daughter-in-law is Princess Wenhua, so if they are exterminated, the royal family will be buried with them. Sweat drips from the royal's brow as he continues to argue. He says that without him, Princess Wenhua would not be sent to the Lion Kingdom, and the Crown Prince of Liang will definitely not let the Ming Kingdom off. He accuses Xiao Chen of dooming the Ming Kingdom. Xiao Chen ignores his nonsense, stating that he does not care about royal affairs. He declares that whoever tries to steal Xiao clan's daughter-in-law will face the consequences. Cornered and desperate, the royal charges at Xiao Chen, yelling in denial. He screams that Xiao Chen does not know the Crown Prince of Liang's other identity, and that he absolutely cannot oppose him. Xiao Chen senses that he might learn some important information from the royal. He withdraws his energy and inquires about the other identity mentioned. The royal kneels and confesses in a terrified state. He reveals that the Crown Prince of Liang's master is a soul formation expert. Xiao Chen closes his eyes briefly, feeling somewhat disappointed by this revelation. He expected a more profound secret but finds it underwhelming. He slowly brings his palm down toward the royal's head to deliver the final blow. The royal, still unwilling to die, pleads for mercy. He feels immense terror and cannot believe his words are not enough to save him. He thinks the man before him must be insane for not fearing a true soul formation expert. He continues desperately, adding that the master is also an elder of the Jingong Dian. Xiao Chen pauses upon hearing this name, sensing a possible connection. The royal hurriedly reveals everything he knows, explaining that both the Ming and Liang kingdoms are within the southern continent. He says the Jingong is the largest sect there, leading all others, and offending them could lead to the annihilation of both kingdoms. He advises Xiao Chen to know his place and not defy such powerful figures. Xiao Chen finds this information still insufficient. He coldly asks if the royal has finished speaking. The royal reacts with astonishment, and Xiao Chen repeats his query about whether that is all. The royal panics and blurts out that there might be more, but Xiao Chen has no more time for this. He decides to deliver the final blow, stating that he does not want to hear anymore. With a single point, he shatters the royal's soul, leaving the body completely lifeless. No one survives the encounter. The system notification indicates the retrieval of the Qianqun Bell, a high-grade third-level magical treasure. Xiao Chen confirms its use. He stands with his hands clasped behind his back, calculating his next steps. He uses the Qianqun Bell to destroy the body and eliminate all traces, ensuring no evidence remains. He reflects that even if the Jingong investigates, no one will be able to trace it back to him. A moment later, Xu Chen's figure disappears as he uses the shifting image technique. He leaves the battlefield and heads toward the Green Mountains. At the foot of the mountain, Xiao Chen's clone is handling matters, presiding over the wedding ceremony. After giving his blessings as a witness, Xiao Huohuo requests to take his leave after the ceremony. He informs the ancestor that he has matters to attend to and bids farewell to everyone. Xiao Chen's clone immediately agrees, encouraging him that a man's ambition knows no bounds and that Xia clan will always be his backing. Xiao Huohuo replies with vigor and joy. Princess Wenhua takes his hand, and they leave together. Xiao Huohuo asks her about her plans, and she shyly responds that she will follow him. She rests her head on his chest, and the two walk and talk in harmony. Xiao Huohuo expresses his desire not to be limited to the Long Kingdom and to travel to further places for cultivation. Meanwhile, Xiao Chen, meditating alone, receives a system notification about Jingong spies approaching Star City. The system activates a selection function with two choices. The first choice is to mercilessly kill them for battle experience and a high-grade third-level magical treasure. The second choice is to befriend them as guests from afar for a high-grade second-level magical treasure. Xiao Chen ponders slowly, finding it interesting that people from the Jingong are indeed coming. He stops cultivating and stands up with an air of authority. Beneath the rock where he sat, his clone is utilized fully. He sends the clone down the mountain to investigate. The clone immediately follows Xiao's instructions and descends the mountain. It approaches the person and asks what brings him there so late at night. The clone possesses the same sharp senses as the original and instantly assesses the person's strength, noting he has reached the nascent soul realm but not its peak. This person is Cheng Tianren, whose arrival the system reported. Cheng Tianren looks at the clone and asks who he is. Xiao Chen's clone pretends to be an aging servant of Xiao clan and mentions seeing him searching for something. Cheng Tianren, unguarded, asks directly if there have been any dead bodies there that day. Xiao Chen feigns ignorance, stating that it is a joyous occasion for Xiao clan and dismissing the nonsense. He narrows his eyes, observing the clone's every move. Xiao Chen suggests having a drink together to talk things over, noting that since it is Xiao clan's territory, he might be able to help. Internally, he recalls a similar situation with Lag Zunfeng of Greedy Mountain, where he offered a choice but received a lesser reward due to unreasonable behavior. This time, he sees another good opportunity. Chen Tianren is enticed by the offer and agrees to drown his sorrows in wine. Xiao Chen's clone takes a sip first to put him at ease. Although the clone knows everything, it plays knave to extract more information. It asks bluntly what Cheng Tianren is looking for. Cheng Tianren explains that someone went missing with a mark on him, and they knew immediately upon his death, so he came to investigate the body and identify the killer. After speaking, he drains his cup in one gulp and praises the wine as sweet and infused with spiritual energy. Xiao Shen pours more wine and continues to inquire about the mark and how it can identify the killer. Cheng Tianren folds his arms and slowly replies that the Jingong has many methods to identify the killer from the deceased body. He expresses pity that the body is missing. Back in his house, Xiao Chen feels a bit uneasy despite the calm, thinking it is good he dealt with the body immediately to avoid bigger problems. He asks why the Jingong, a sect from the Lion Kingdom, is in the Ming Kingdom. Cheng Tianren explains that although Xiao Chen is a cultivator, his perspective is limited, unaware of people beyond his world and a sky beyond his sky. He says that in the southern continent, talk of kingdoms is nonsense, just a way for sects to control people and select those with outstanding talent and high potential. Xiao Chen continues to ask what they are selected for. Cheng Tianren glances at him without answering and asks in return why one plants a large tree and lets it bloom and bear fruit. Xiao Chen's clone sets down his wine cup and remarks that Cheng Tianren's words are quite profound, but he truly does not understand them. Chen Tianren begins to feel annoyed internally, thinking the person before him does not seem like a country bumpkin yet fails to grasp such a clear explanation. However, he finds the wine exceptionally good and loses interest in continuing the conversation. With no clues here, he sees no reason to stay longer. He leaves with regret, wishing he could keep drinking the wine, as regular consumption could improve his cultivation. He wonders why an old farmer would have such wine, considering Xiao clan might have obtained it by chance and intended it as a gift. After leaving, Chen Tianren turns back and points at the wine jar, asking if there is any more. Xiao Chen replies that Xiao clan obtained it by chance and only has one jar. Chen Tianren shamelessly requests the entire jar for himself. Xiao Chen feigns embarrassment but hopes he will take it. As the wine jar is about to be handed over, Xiao Chen seizes the opportunity to ask what kind of mark makes them so certain the person was last seen here, prompting the search. Chen Tianren explains it is a prisoner's mark used for control, allowing them to check what happened, but without the body, the investigation cannot continue. Xiao Shen, still holding the jar, asks if Chen Tianren, as a Jinghong Dian member, has such a mark. Chen Tianren takes the jar and responds that he does not, as only outsiders seeking protection and strength receive the mark for exploitation. At this point, Xiao Chen understands the whole story and slightly bows his head. Chen Tianren opens the wine jar, glances at Xiao Shen, and asks if the wine was obtained through treasure hunting. Xiao Chen stands up and answers vaguely that it could be considered so. Chen Tianren probes further, asking about other treasures from the hunt. Xiao Shen looks directly into his eyes and demands to know what he is implying. Chen Tianren gets straight to the point, suggesting that as a friend who came all this way, he should be invited to Xiao clan estate for even a cup of tea. Xiao Shen immediately declines, citing the late hour and the unsuitability of his home for guests, internally noting he sees through Chen Tianren's motives. Xiao Chen turns to leave, but before going he throws out a provocative remark about Chen Tianren not being loyal and waiting to die, with Jinghong Dian members disappearing nearby, implying inevitable implication. Chen Tianren's words confuse him, as he expected a better reward and accuses Xiao Shen of not cooperating. Xiao Chen retorts that the information was worse and worthless, that without a mark, Chen Tianren's death would go unnoticed. Chen Tianren speculates if Xiao Shen intends to kill him and immediately goes on the offensive, threatening to bathe Xiao clan in blood unless treasures are handed over. Xiao Chen stands straight and questions if he has that kind of power. Chen Tianren laughs loudly, dismissing Xiao clan and Xiao Huhu's ability to save them, boosting that Jinghong Dian can annihilate 10 like him in an instant. He grits his teeth, cold sweat pouring down, but finds using all his strength useless, with the surrounding spiritual energy seemingly vanished. Xiao Chen, hands clasped behind his back, speaks as if oblivious, wondering why he has stopped talking. Chen Tianren starts to feel fear, not daring to speak, and with a pale face asks who Xiao Chen is. Xiao Chen's clone raises a hand, gathering spiritual energy and frowning slightly without answering, using a familiar spell. Chen Tianren feels immense pressure, collapsing to the ground and crawling in pain as if his bones might shatter. He becomes certain that Xiao Shen is an outsider who has reached the nascent soul realm, terror filling his heart. Xiao Chen's clone does not deny it, admitting he guessed correctly, and that if he had taken the wine and left, he might have been spared. But since he threatened Xiao clan, there is no need for him to live. His hand gathers all his power. Chen Tianren has no choice but to beg for mercy, swearing not to reveal anything or target Xiao clan again if spared, his heart pounding with terror as death approaches. Xiao Chen takes the opportunity to extract all secrets, stating that if there is no more useful information, he can die. Chen Tianren bows his head, hands clasped, pleading continuously but failing to understand what useful information means. Cornered, he yells that killing him will bring Jinghong Dian to kill Xiao Shen and exterminate Xiao clan. Xiao Chen sneers, recalling that Chen Tianren said he had no mark, so no one would know he died here. Xiao Chen's true body, sitting on Green Cloud Mountain, pauses for a few seconds before resuming actions, resulting in Chen Tianren's death. The system notification congratulates him on receiving a high-grade 3rd-tier magical treasure, the Profound Yin Banner. Xiao Chen's true body, having completed the task, lightly flicks his sleeves and stands up. He reflects that he completely disposed of the body with no traces and regrets not getting the 2nd-tier treasure. The system retrieves the Profound Yin Banner, and he picks it up, satisfied with the acquisition, noting it can suppress souls and damage the divine soul. Returning to Xiao clan, Xiao Chen laughs heartily, gripping the treasure tightly, and thinks about having his descendants produce more offspring. In the royal secret chamber of the Lion Kingdom, Crown Prince Yan Zhenkang kneels before a mysterious mirror. A voice from the mirror asks why he has not sent any tributes yet, noting that disciples in other countries have already done so. Yan Zhenkang quickly promises his master that he will bring Princess Wenhua from the Ming Kingdom soon. The voice urges him to hurry because it needs to refine the white yin pill to advance from the nascent soul stage after being stuck too long. Yan Junkin bows his head with a worried expression and agrees. The mirror image flickers and vanishes. He then wipes sweat from his forehead. He secretly plans to destroy the Ming Kingdom and capture Princess Wenhua, feeling angry that the wedding did not happen despite his gifts. He tells a subordinate to find out what the Ming Kingdom prince is doing, sure the prince would not disobey his master. The subordinate accepts the order. Soon, the subordinate returns and reports that the prince cannot be contacted and seems missing. Yan Zhengkang frowns deeply upon hearing this. He becomes very angry, feeling tricked. With veins bulging, he shouts orders to prepare a carriage for an envoy to the Ming Kingdom. Yan Zhengkang goes to the Ming Kingdom's Ministry of Rights. The vice minister greets him with a bow. Yan Zhengkang proudly demands to know when he can marry Princess Wenhua, mentioning the many gifts he sent. The vice minister and his staff freeze, avoiding eye contact. Yan Zhengkang insists on seeing the princess himself. The vice minister hesitates but admits that Princess Wenhua has married another person. He says he learned this later and thinks the royal family also found out only the next day. Yan Zhengkang is shocked, his face darkening. He gets furious, refusing to believe the princess married someone else after his proposal. The vice minister tries to calm him by confirming the marriage happened 2 days ago, but Yan Zhengkang cuts him off and demands to see the emperor. After a short time, Yan Zhengkang meets the emperor in the royal hall. He seems calmer but asks for an explanation about the broken marriage and wants to know where Princess Wenhua is. The emperor replies slowly that she married a nobleman yesterday and will return all gifts. Yan Zhengkang's thoughts become chaotic, unable to accept his failed plans. He asks where Prince Gong is, remembering his promise to help with the marriage. The emperor dismisses him, saying Prince Gong is missing. Yan Zhengkang loses all politeness and threatens to kill everyone if he does not see the princess. The emperor's guards move to protect him. Yan Zhengkang waves his hand and throws the guards far away, calling them worthless. The emperor angrily warns him about the risks of starting a fight. Yan Zhengkang, now crazy with rage, charges at the emperor with death threats. Xiao Hu appears suddenly in front of the emperor like a god, staring coldly at Yan Zhengkang. The emperor is surprised. Xiao Huo easily throws Yan Zhengkang aside. Princess Wenhua is there too, worriedly checking on her father. The emperor looks confused. The princess looks at Xiao Hu and tells her father he is her husband, explaining she returned home on the second day after marriage as tradition. Xiao Huo bows to the emperor and calls him father-in-law. The servants line up and silently bless the princess. No one cares about the injured Yan Zhengkang. He struggles to look at them despite his pain. He examines Xiao Huo closely and sees his supreme yin and supreme yang physique. He feels scared but realizes that giving both these talented people to his master would be a great prize, better than just the princess. Yan Zhengkang calms down and clears his throat. He admits Xiao Huo surprised him, never thinking a young man could be so strong. He points at them and says the Ming Kingdom broke the promise and used force against him. Xiao Huo responds firmly, accusing Yan Zhengkang of attacking the court and asking if the Liang Kingdom wants war. Yan Zhengkang frowns and vows revenge, telling the Ming Kingdom to wait. He then turns and leaves while everyone watches. The emperor is very happy, praising his daughter for finding a good husband and liking Xiao Huo. The officials agree. The princess smiles, holding her husband's arm. Xiao Huo feels warm inside seeing this. Yan Zhengkang stands respectfully before the mirror and reports to his father with great resolve that he witnessed something important with his own eyes. He clasps his hands together and carefully expresses his thoughts based on his observations. He explains that using the physiognomy techniques taught by his father, he discovers Princess Wenhua and Xiao Huo possess exceptionally compatible cultivation physiques. His father, communicating through a magical mirror, nods slightly in understanding and suggests this situation might be the work of destiny. Before his image vanishes completely, he gives clear instructions and offers reassurance, promising to dispatch his most powerful eldest disciple to capture both targets. Yan Zhengkang narrows his eyes with a satisfied expression spreading across his face. He wonders if this means that invincible Golden Core Realm's senior brother will assist him. With such powerful help from senior brother, he feels certain Xiao Huo will lose their confrontation. He determines that this time, there absolutely cannot be any further mishaps in their plans. Meanwhile, at Shou Clan's back mountain, gentle sunlight filters through the dense forest canopy. Xie Chen meditates peacefully beneath a rushing waterfall, completely undisturbed by his surroundings. The system suddenly issues an important notification to him. It reports that his descendant, currently cultivating with the magical painting of rivers and mountains, suddenly recalls a fragment of his past life memories. Xiao Chen's expression turns deeply melancholic upon receiving this news, and his brow furrows involuntarily with concern. Although Xiao Chen is a reincarnated expert carrying memories from his past life, some particularly painful memories remain sealed away. For instance, the reasons for his previous death and the circumstances of his reincarnation remain undisclosed secrets even to himself. 1 month later, a bright green light flashes where he sits meditating before vanishing completely. He transports himself to another location entirely. There, he notices a piece of cloth wrapped mysteriously around a tree trunk. With his hands clasped thoughtfully behind his back, he muses that he must discover what memories this reincarnated expert has recalled. Within the magical painting of rivers and mountains, Xiaomax seems to merge completely with the world around him. The ground clearly reflects his detailed silhouette. All spiritual energy in the area converges directly upon him. He closes his eyes slightly, focusing his mind with intense concentration. At that precise moment, powerful energy waves surge around him, swirling in invisible vortices. Xiaomax, within this vast ocean of energy, appears incredibly small and vulnerable. He feels very close to achieving his deepest desire. His brows furrow more deeply than ever before. In a fleeting moment of breakthrough, Xiaomax successfully travels back to his past. He lay on a wooden plank in the middle of a dark room, and his upper body was completely bare, revealing well-toned muscles. However, a closer inspection revealed Xiaomax's terribly haggard appearance. His entire body was covered with brutal bruises and wounds. Fresh blood dripped steadily into a wooden bucket beside him, almost filling it completely. A woman's cold voice echoed mockingly in his ears. She commented on his surprising resilience to still be alive after 3 days of torture. Suhei stood calmly beside his suffering form. Her eyes appeared deep and mysterious, but every word she uttered felt like a sharp knife piercing his heart. She coldly stated this situation was actually good for her plans. She declared she would take his precious Kulin cartilage for herself. She planned to extract his valuable azure dragon marrow completely. She intended to drain his powerful vermilion bird bloodline entirely. And she would transfer all these precious attributes to herself. Xiaomax felt completely exhausted, too weak to even open his eyes. His cheeks were badly sunken, making him look like an old man. She reached out and caressed his cheek in a mocking gesture. She explained that to properly nurture these attributes, she needed the black tortoise blood in his body. She revealed that more bleeding actually increased her success rate significantly. She told him not to die too easily. Xiaomax struggled painfully to part his cracked lips. He could only whisper a single word asking why this was happening. He spoke these words of utter agony and confusion. He recalled being completely devoted to Suhei in his past life. He could not understand why she would treat him so cruelly now. Another person entered the room at that moment. This person spoke up immediately in Suhei's defense. He claimed everything Xiaomax possessed was actually given by Suhei. The cultivation techniques he learned, the miraculous pills he consumed, and all his opportunities were carefully arranged by her. All this was supposedly designed to help him reach his current realm. Suhei lowered her head slightly, remaining completely silent during this explanation. Xiaomax forced his eyes open with great effort, speaking each word with difficulty. He questioned what this arrangement truly meant for him. He remembered loving her so deeply and sincerely in his past life. She turned her face away from his painful gaze. Her long hair obscured half her face as she quickly changed the subject. She claimed to be in a bad mood that day. She told him to stop saying such disgusting things to her. She stated that if she did not value his talent and special physique, she would not have nurtured him so carefully bit by bit. Hearing these heartless words from Suhei, he could not help but shed tears of bitter betrayal. He realized everything between them had been a complete lie from the very beginning. At this painful moment, he did not know whether he felt regret or something else entirely, and his voice became calmer than ever before yet filled with deep hatred. He concluded his sincere feelings only resulted in this tragic outcome. He declared he could never forgive her for this betrayal. He repeated his inability to forgive her cruel actions. He sank into silent contemplation about his painful past. Suddenly, Xiaomax's entire body began glowing brightly. He emitted a dazzling golden light that filled the room. The mysterious man present tried to remain calm but cursed in surprise. He recognized this as the legendary Great Tao Will. He expressed shock that Xiaomax possessed this supreme power. Suhei hurriedly asked what this development meant for their plans. She worried whether it would affect them negatively. The man further explained that if they could seize this power, their strength would definitely increase greatly, but he warned that this Great Tao Will was connected directly to Xiaomax's soul. Once it disappeared with his death, it would become very difficult to trace again. Xiaomax, now witnessing these memories from his current perspective, turned extremely pale. Sweat poured down his face as he processed this unbelievable truth. He wondered if this was what he actually experienced in his past life. He gradually recovered more of these painful past life memories. He realized he was framed and died so tragically because of it. He remembered Suhei was indeed the woman he loved deeply in that previous life. He pressed his right hand hard against his forehead. He pressed so hard it caused physical pain in his head. His brows remained tightly furrowed throughout this painful recollection. Then, Xiaomax used all his internal energy and let out a loud yell that echoed throughout the heavens and earth. Once again, he is surrounded by water in his vision. Xiao Match falls into another mystical space within the painting. His face now shows a terrifying calmness after his emotional outburst. Xiao Match looks carefully at the mountain model before him, gently touching it with his hand. Just thinking about that woman Su Hai makes him frown and narrow his eyes dangerously. He thinks about how her every move clearly treated Xiao Match like some kind of freebie cultivated, with the end goal being the harvest. He clasps his hands behind his back, looking into the distance with deep wonder. He finds it remarkable that a soul formation stage expert could become someone else's cultivation fruit. He wonders what realm the one who ultimately sees the harvest must have reached. He recalls the image from that dark room in his memory. There was also a mysterious man whose face was not revealed clearly. He cannot help feeling suspicious, especially about that unknown man. Although this man appeared in his memories, his face was never clearly visible. He seriously considers his judgment about the situation. He concludes the other party's strength is at least at the soul formation stage or possibly higher. In addition, he also realizes that his current strength is still too weak for such challenges. He understands he has to become stronger quickly, otherwise all Xiao clan descendants will find it difficult to escape the fate of having their achievements stolen by others. Xiao Match bows his head in deep thought for a long time, with disjointed thoughts filling his mind. He reflects on his past life where his love died, leaving only hatred in his heart now. He does not notice when tears start falling and gather on his cheeks. He bites his lip tightly, filled with deep resentment. He thinks that even if everything was taken from him, he was originally invincible and never lacked extraordinary talent. After this reflection, he stands up abruptly with both hands clenched into fists, ready to face whatever comes. He yells loudly about defying the heavens to reclaim justice for himself in this life. Xiao Chen happens to be standing behind a tree and hears him, then turns to look. He slowly approaches and observes Xiao Match carefully. As soon as Xiao Match sees him, he hurriedly cups his hands together in respect and addresses him as ancestor. His expression appears very serious, with bright eyes and a firm voice, as he expresses his desire to go out for training. Xiao Chen smiles faintly and closes his eyes, showing approval of Xiao Match's idea. He agrees that the painting of rivers and mountains can no longer bear his presence and it is time for him to leave. However, his heart feels uneasy and filled with worry internally. He knows this treasure could contain many more powerful individuals without issue, but the problem now is Xiao Match remembering his past life. The heavenly will within him is not something the painting of rivers and mountains can control. Xiao Match narrows his eyes, smiling happily and excitedly as he guarantees to bring glory to the Xiao clan and make others tremble at their name. Xiao Chen hurriedly advises him to be more humble now, explaining that concealing his strength is the best strategy. He emphasizes prioritizing his life in any situation. He only dares to think this in his heart. Fearing the outside world is like a tiger watching its prey with countless people wanting to reap others' rewards. He worries that showing off casually could make a Xiao clan a target for various forces, especially with Xiao Huhuo already being one target and now Xiao Match adding to the risk. After listening, Xiao Match feels it makes sense and obediently replies that he will heed the ancestor's words. Xiao Chen feels very satisfied and softly acknowledges this. He also has something he wants to give him, offering 2 more magical treasures. With that, Xiao Chen takes out 2 items. The top grade 4th tier magical treasure called Pursuit, and the top grade 3rd tier magical treasure called Profound Yin Banner. Xiao Match feels deeply moved by the ancestor's kindness towards him. He worries about not catching up to enemies, so he appreciates the treasures for increasing his speed. He bows deeply in gratitude to thank the ancestor. However, Xiao Chen's true intentions are quite the opposite. He looks at Xiao Match with a benevolent and forgiving gaze, thinking internally that with these 2 magical treasures, he can escape any danger in the future, which is the most important thing. Suddenly, a system notification appears with a warning about an enemy approaching the Xiao clan. It initiates a selection with a comparison table. Option 1 is to decisively attack and crush the enemy, rewarding 1 high-grade 4th tier magical treasure called Ice Valley. Option 2 is to let Xiao Chen handle it, rewarding 1 high-grade 3rd tier magical treasure called Ice Collar. Xiao Chen lowers his head and urges Xiao Match to go out through the main gate. Xiao Match agrees and heads to the front of the Xiao clan gate. At the gate, a man in armor named Chen Van waits impatiently with his arms crossed. He demands to see Xiao Huhuo. Xiao Mak approaches from behind and asks coldly what he wants with him. Chen Van replies that it is Jing Hongdian business and outsiders should not pry. Xiao Match's eyes suddenly light up as if he has discovered a clue. He recalls hearing the name Jing Hongdian before. The image of Su Hai appears in his mind, and he remembers that Jing Hongdian is the organization she founded, specializing in cultivating geniuses. Xiao Match decides to lead the way with a heart full of vigilance, telling Chen Van he knows where Xiao Hoho is and asking him to follow. They arrive at a large cliff after walking a long distance. Chen Van impatiently asks where Xiao Ho is. Xiao Match looks up at the sky without answering the question, instead asking if Chen Van knows where this place is. Chen Van looks around disdainfully and says it does not matter to him. Xiao Match lowers his voice, saying each word deliberately that this is where he died. He is forced to recall that unpleasant memory from his past life. It was here that he was tied up, his bones dug up, his marrow sucked out, his tendons pulled, and his blood drained. To cover up their tracks, they destroyed this entire mountain. Chen Van turns to leave, dismissing his words as nonsense and calling him crazy. Xiao Match asks another question that touches a sore spot, wondering if Su Hai is still at Jinghong Dian. This name immediately catches Chen Van's attention. He freezes in place, unable to move, with his eyes widening to their limit. But acting is definitely Chen Van's forte. He turns around, transformed into a different person, and shouts boldly that Xiao Match dares to directly call the name of their sect's ancestor. He demands to know who he is. Although he says it seems he has been struck where it hurts, as only higher-ups in the sect know the ancestor's name. Xiao Match tilts his head back, his voice calm as he asks if Jinghong Dian is still doing those dirty deeds, searching for geniuses worldwide to bring them to Jinghong Dian for inhuman torture. Chen Van frowns with stiff lips, unable to speak. He immediately releases his dragon, his attitude completely changed, stating that no matter who Xiao Match is, there are some things he cannot understand, and he tells him to die. Xiao Match clasps his hands behind his back, unafraid. The monsters lunge at him, tearing at each other. Chen Van thinks he has the upper hand, believing he can eliminate Xiao Match quickly, and smirks with satisfaction. Where Xiao Match had just stood, only a thick cloud of dust remains after the battle. Chen Van curls his lip in disdain, calling it a waste. But as he turns to leave, a soft sigh from the bushes stops him in his tracks. Xiao Match calmly steps out, showing no signs of injury. Chen Van's eyes widen as if he has seen a ghost, expressing disbelief about how this could be. Xiao Match is colder than ever, simply repeating his pregnant question about what Chen Van is doing looking for Xiao Hua. Chen Van starts to put on an act, but in front of Xiao Match, it is all a farce. Xiao Match tells him not to put on airs, calling him a piece of trash who just stepped into the Golden Core realm and dares to compare himself to a genius like him, saying he is dreaming. A gust of wind summoned by Chen Van sweeps past where Xiao Match stands. Chen Van, arrogant as ever, breathes heavily and still looks down on everyone, spitting out the word trash. Xiao Match remains motionless, lowering his head to ask if he is still not going to talk. This time, Chen Van is truly afraid. His face pales, the whites of his eyes widen, and his pupils shrink to tiny dots. He stumbles back, suddenly feeling small before the person in front of him. He stammers tremblingly about how this is impossible. Xiao Match smiles gently, crossing his arms and continuing to wonder if Chen Van has ever heard the saying that in the same realm, he is invincible, and in different realms he can fight one-on-one. Chen Van frowns and replies softly that their sect once had a genius with not only high talent, but also extraordinary strength. He mentions it's a pity that this genius went down the wrong path, fell into the demonic path, and was expelled from the sect. Xiao Match crosses his arms, feeling quite annoyed by the other's thoughts, and says loudly that such slander is truly laughable. He declares he is that very genius they speak of. Chen Van still looks at Xiao Match with disdain, mocking him by asking if he is crazy. He adds that was a long time ago, and that person is already dead. Xiao Match simply tells him to look closely. With that, he raises his hand high above his head, summoning his demonic will. Between heaven and earth, Xiao Match waves his hand, and a fierce wind arises, sweeping Chen Van away. Chen Van is dragged along the ground for a distance, struggling before finally stopping and managing to stand up. His chest tightens and blood trickles from the corner of his mouth. He feels extremely worried but dares only keep it to himself, afraid of revealing any weakness. He thinks his body has a serious problem with broken meridians throughout, every muscle feeling like it is being pierced by needles, and his danshin in chaos. He wonders what is going on. Cold sweat pours down his forehead as he looks at Xiao Match, his voice broken as he expresses disbelief that it could be him. He thinks to himself that he has the strength of the 9th level of the Golden Core realm, and is a genius in the sect with basically no rivals in the Golden Core realm. Only when about to die does he realize there are mountains beyond mountains. He can no longer stand, collapsing onto the grass at Xiao Max's feet and looking up at him. The counterattack just now leaves Xiao Max slightly breathless, as that move exhausts his strength. He reflects that a 1st level Golden Core against a 9th level Golden Core is still a bit difficult, and if it were his previous life's body, it would definitely not be a problem. He approaches Chen Van, checking his entire body for anything unusual. He only finds a command token and some spirit stones, nothing else. He raises 2 fingers and blows gently, destroying the body and eliminating all traces. This task is insignificant for his abilities. Xiao Mac looks into the distance, another worry added to his heart. He thinks Jinghong Dian is looking for Xiao Huoho, and it is probably not a good thing. For now, he decides it is better to observe in secret. Moreover, he might be able to find more information about Suhai. After that, he returns to Sunset City to find a temporary place to rest. A strange man holds a token, searching for something. He struggles internally, noting he still has not found that disciple, and the next step of the plan will be difficult to carry out. He thinks he can only actively contact him through this token to determine his location. Finally, he finds the place he is looking for and strides into the house ahead. He thinks to himself that based on the aura on the token, that senior brother should be here. He walks up the stairs, his eyes scanning the surroundings. He recalls never meeting this senior brother who is known as the #1 Golden Core disciple and does not know his temperament either. He wonders if it is alright to barge in like this. But as he hesitates at the door, a voice comes from inside the room telling him to come in. His hand, poised to knock, freezes, and he marvels inwardly that as expected of a talented individual, it seems he sensed his presence long ago. Without hesitation, he opens the door and enters, greeting senior brother. Xiao Match, sitting at the table, looks at him and before speaking, silently observes and assesses the newcomer. He thinks this could be his junior brother from just now and felt someone looking for him. He concludes that as expected, someone has come looking for trouble. After observing him, he asks who he is. The man bows his head and replies that this disciple is Yan Zhenkang, of the same sect as senior brother, and has come specifically to welcome him. Xiao Match cannot help but feels suspicious and asks what he wants with him. But as soon as he speaks, he realizes he has been too blunt. He instinctively asks the question and needs to add something. He says he was worried about imposters, so he carefully inquires about his true purpose in coming here. The man, still looking at the ground, replies that naturally, it is to capture Xiao Huhu and Princess Wenhua and bring them back as an offering to master. Xiao Match repeats the phrase, bring them back as an offering. He shows anger, deducing that Chen Van looking for Huhuo is probably for the same reason. He thinks being brought back as an offering will likely result in the same fate as him, and Jinghong Dian is truly incorrigible. Seeing that Xiao Match remains silent, the man asks what senior brother is thinking. Xiao Match quickly devises a plan. He decides to take out his token to further solidify his identity in the other man's mind. Thinking this, he takes out his token, slams it on the table, and asks if he has a plan. The man seems to have been waiting for this question and immediately launches into a long explanation. He says he has contacts within the Ming Kingdom's royal family who can help them. He suggests they join forces with them today to stage a rebellion and completely seize control of the Ming Kingdom. Then, the Liang Kingdom can expand its influence and occupy the Ming Kingdom, and all the talented individuals of the Ming Kingdom will be theirs to choose from. After he finishes speaking, he waits to see Xiao Max's reaction to his suggestion. He asks what senior brother thinks of this plan. Xiao Match replies that it is indeed not bad and tells him to go and make the preparations, adding they will take control of the Ming Kingdom today. The man immediately clasps his hands together, raises them to his forehead, and exclaims that he will obey the command. Xiao Match maintains his serious expression. Night falls and the room radiates the warmth of love. Two people lie nestled under the covers, whispering sweet nothings. Xiao Huo softly says that his family is hoping they can continue the family line, and they are quite insistent, seeming to be an order from the ancestor. Princess Wenhua shyly hides her face under the covers, her entire being radiating the intoxicating aura of love. She says she will do whatever he says. But in Zhao Huhuo's heart there is a lingering unease. He feels something is very strange, thinking his strength increases every time they are intimate and wondering if he is overthinking it. Suddenly the window bursts open, and a letter flies in on a gust of wind, causing the candle flame to flicker wildly. Xiao Huo swiftly snatches the letter, as if he has been expecting it. His expression turns serious. He decisively opens the letter and curls his lip, noting it is a letter. He starts to feel uneasy, wondering if it is real or fake and who sent it. Princess Wenhua also sits up curiously watching him. Xiao Huo goes outside, naked as he is, to investigate the situation. Strangely, there is not any trace of anyone. He holds the letter up again, examining it carefully for anything unusual, but he cannot find any clues on the envelope. At the Imperial Palace, despite the late hour, the noise of people can still be heard. Someone exclaims excellently, finally a chance to overthrow that old dog emperor. The man who met Xiao Match that afternoon stands at the front with a group of fully armed soldiers behind him. They look restless. He thinks the entire Ming Kingdom will have to obey his orders after this and laughs. Just thinking about those princesses and the emperor, he can hardly wait. Seeing no movement ahead, they grow suspicious. Someone says it is time yet, but why there are no signs of anyone? Another says it is impossible, the agreement was for this time, and why their people have not arrived. They wonder if they are in the wrong place and note they cannot rebel without soldiers. The leader's face darkens considerably. He orders them to go find them immediately, no matter what methods they use. They must gather enough troops. Just then, A voice comes from behind them, saying no need to search, their people are not coming. The man, seeing Xiao Huohu instead of the person he expected, feels somewhat surprised and expresses his confusion about why it is him. Xiao Huohu sneers and reveals that their plan has been completely exposed, with their army already dealt with, leaving only the man alone now. The man does not wait to hear more and immediately turns to flee. However, Xiao Huo remains utterly calm, having anticipated this escape attempt, and questions internally if the man thinks he can truly get away. Xiao Huo recalls a previous incident outside the imperial palace where the man pleaded with him for a chance to escape. The man offered miraculous elixirs and medicinal herbs from the Liang kingdom in exchange for his freedom. Xiao Huo scoffs at this memory, believing he should be the one giving chances, not receiving them. The man's face turns cold as he asserts his identity as the crown prince of the Liang kingdom, warning Xiao Huo about defying him. Xiao Huo sneers again, stating he has never been afraid of such threats. The crown prince's expression changes drastically, and he frowns slightly, wondering why his senior brother has not appeared yet and how long he intends to wait. A man wearing a half mask appears behind the crown prince. Observing the situation quietly, Xiao Huo falls into deep thought, feeling this masked man seems very familiar. The crown prince laughs loudly, taunting Xiao Huo about being scared now, and boasts that this is his senior brother, a peerless genius at the 9th level of the Golden Core realm, known as the Invincible Golden Core, and that Xiao Huo is no match for him. Xiao Huo immediately draws his sword and raises it in preparation for battle, thinking that facing a 9th level Golden Core realm expert, it is better to kill by mistake than to let him go. The crown prince becomes furious and shouts to his senior brother, reminding him that capturing Xiao Huo and Lu Wenhuo will double their cultivation speed, as mentioned to their master. Suddenly, the arm of the masked man moves swiftly. In the blink of an eye, his sword is at the crown prince's throat, causing the crown prince's face to pale and his body to freeze. Without any hesitation, the masked man slashes, resulting in blood spraying everywhere. The crown prince stumbles back, expressing incredulity at this betrayal. The masked man tilts his head slightly and coldly tells him to die. Xiao Huo feels puzzled, still not recognizing his comrade. The man removes his mask, revealing himself as Xiao Match with deep eyes, and addresses Xiao Huo as Uncle Huo, noting that he does not even recognize him. Xiao Huo puts his hands on his hips and acknowledges him, but asks what he is doing here. Xiao Match then recounts his experiences, explaining that there is a larger organization behind these events, hunting down geniuses. Xiao Huo sympathizes and warns that not only Xiao Match but even his wife is being targeted. Xiao Match suddenly understands and turns in to leave, mentioning he has destroyed the evidence so no one should find out, but he advises Uncle Huo to still be careful. The next day at Xiao clan, Xiaola speaks to his father Qiu Chun. He bows and presents a letter with both hands, explaining it is from Xiao Huo with his personal seal, and suggests Xiao Chen see it himself. Xiao Chen takes the letter and opens it, thinking to himself that it is just as he expected. Xiao Li clasps his hands, seeming not to have read the contents yet, and asks what the letter says. But Xiao Chen does not answer, turning and waving his hand dismissively, saying it is nothing. He then instructs Xiao Li to encourage the young members of a Xiao clan to cultivate diligently and focus on producing offspring. 1 year later, at the back mountain of Xiao clan, Xiao Shen is cultivating when he receives a system notification. The system detects that the number of his descendants has reached 3,000 and rewards him with the Hoi Bow, a second-grade high-level magical treasure. However, he does not seem very happy, with his eyes downcast and a hint of sorrow, thinking that achieving a full house of descendants is truly an arduous task. The reward is an exquisitely crafted bow with extremely powerful functions. It can lock onto a target's location with unerring accuracy, and even double its attack power based on the user's strength. Xiao Chen feels very satisfied with this reward, saying cheerfully that now he can kill anyone without hesitation. The system reports on Xiao Huo's status: race human. Divine abilities and techniques including 9 flying swords and others, magical treasures like the Azure Dragon Sword, a cultivation level at the 2nd level of Nascent Soul, spiritual root aptitude 6th grade, identity as Lord of the Heavenly Star Tower and leader of the 36 sects of the Ming Kingdom, and special Flame Emperor destiny. Xiao Chen reviews the information and comments that it is not bad at all, noting that Xiao Huo's training outside has progressed quickly, jumping from the 9th level of Golden Core to the Nascent Soul realm in just 1 year. Regarding other information on Xiao Huo, the system states that he successfully eliminated 3 spies from Jinghong Dian, gradually uncovered and dealt with spies from the Liang Kingdom, led troops to assist the Ming Kingdom in battle, causing the Liang Kingdom's army to retreat, and killed a genius of the Jinghong Dian to obtain their secret map. Xiao Chen feels solemn yet slightly worried, thinking that such arrogant behavior has definitely attracted attention from Jinghong Dian, and he reflects that the more Xiao Huo is suppressed, the stronger he becomes. He scrolls through the other information, anxious to know how Xiao Max is doing. Xiao Chen strokes his chin and smiles while looking at the system screen. He comments that this kid really has inherited his temper and personality. The system interface displays detailed information about another named Xiao Match. It shows his race as human, his spiritual root aptitude as 6th grade, and his divine abilities and techniques including Dragon Yang Sword, Scripture, and others. His cultivation level is Golden Core Stage 1, with a special identity as a reincarnated great power of the integration stage. He has an awakened innate sword body physique and possesses the power of Heaven and Earth will. The system reports that his son Xiao Match has infiltrated the Jinghong Dian, concealing his identity while cultivating in a branch location, with a total of 10 enemies killed. It also notes that Xiao Match saved the genius Yixuan, who possesses the heavenly Yang physique, at Mount Jing and helped him escape, and similarly saved another genius named Xiao Feng with twin spiritual veins. The information about Xiao Match is as long as a memorial to the Emperor, not even fitting on a single system screen. Xiao Chen strokes his chin in satisfied approval, noting his calm and composed nature while secretly eliminating enemies. He feels very good that Xiao Match remembers his instructions to act cautiously. Meanwhile, Xiao Li arrives at his side and reports that Hu Huo has sent another letter, this time accompanied by a treasure map, and requests that he take a look. Xiao Chen takes the paper and examines it carefully, focusing on each line. The letter contains Xiao Huhu's account of his recent encounter, where he accidentally obtained a treasure map said to be from 1,000 years ago, marking the place where the great power Ding Yun, the bright origin emperor, entered eternal slumber. It mentions countless treasures inside, including numerous top-grade cultivation techniques, precious pills, and immortal artifacts. Xiao Hu explains he has important matters and cannot leave, so he respectfully requests the ancestor to decide whether Xiao clan should seek this treasure. Xiao Chen folds the letter and holds it up to his eyes for a clearer view. He muses that it is the treasure trove of the great power Ding Yun, located at the border between the Ming and Liang kingdoms. Xiao's expression becomes more serious than ever as he leans on his staff with sharp eyes, assessing the situation and suggesting this is a good opportunity to seek the treasure. Xiao Chen ponders with a smirk playing on his lips and a deep gaze, thinking that the great power Ding Yun possessed formidable strength and obtaining the treasures could elevate Xiao clan to new heights. At this moment, the system prompts him to make a choice between seeking the treasure for the development of Xiao clan with a reward of a primary level mother, chilled river, or refusing the opportunity to avoid danger with a reward of a low, grade 4th rank artifact. Pulled from his thoughts by the prompt, he feels puzzled about choosing to avoid danger and wonders what danger there could be. Xiao Chen responds to his eldest son's earlier suggestion that this is an opportunity Huo secured for Xiao clan, so they should go. Xiao Li cups his hands and excuses himself to make preparations without delay. Xiao Chen then hurriedly examines his energy, noticing that wherever he reaches out his hand, the water flows. The mother-child river is in its initial stage, and drinking it within the day would increase the pregnancy rate by 10%. Xiao Chen feels very satisfied with this interesting treasure, praising it as good stuff. He hasn't even started yet, but is already planning for his daughters-in-law and granddaughters-in-law to drink a cup every day to increase the rate of producing hairs. The dawn light shines upon the mansion. Previously, a notice was posted in a busy area about a huge treasure, with the Jinghong Dian specifically recruiting strong individuals to search for the treasure trove together. This news immediately attracts many locals to watch, all curious about the matter. Someone mentions hearing that this enormous treasure is located in the border area between the Ming Kingdom and the Liang Kingdom, left behind by a great expert of the Asking Peak realm. Others comment that there will certainly be dangers along the way, but they wonder why the Jinghong Dian is sharing the benefits with them. A young man who seems to know the good reputation of Jinghong Dian well says they are very famous in the Liang Kingdom for helping poor commoners step onto the path of cultivation and defying fate to change their destiny. The outstanding young men who hear the news are overjoyed and pack their belongings to set off immediately to register. Some older people express regret about not being younger, have the opportunity to step onto the path of cultivation, while others sigh with envy for the young people's bright future. Some feel greedy for wealth, wishing they could go to the treasure's burial place. The young man reading the notice says optimistically that as soon as the news broke, the Jinghong Dian issued an announcement offering a spirit pill that helps one enter the realm of cultivation for anyone who can recommend a chosen talented individual. He suggests they all enthusiastically search for talented individuals, noting that perhaps Xiao clan's youth can meet the criteria. At this time in Xiao clan, Xiao Li feels a little worried and wants to ask the ancestor if the treasure burial place the Jinghong Dian mentioned is the same as on their treasure map. Xiao Chen becomes tense, having anticipated this, and thinks the location being the same means they might have been schemed against, with Huo falling into their trap. However, one point makes Xiao Chen hesitate. The map is indeed real. Xiao Li curiously asks if the Jinghong Dian has been recruiting talented youths all these years, truly intending to share the treasure trove. Xiao Chen snorts softly and curls his lip, having completely seen through their intentions of simply wanting to cultivate sweet fruits, noting a leopard cannot change its spots. He comforts his son that it is all right and they just need to worry about themselves, adding that the Jinghong Dian is so arrogant that when the time comes, other sects will definitely go along, and if they are sharing the treasure, there is no need to worry. Xiao Li no longer has any doubts. Suddenly, someone rushes into the house with an extremely urgent demeanor, reporting that people from the Jinghong Dian have come and want to meet and talk. Xiao Li almost cannot believe his ears that they came on their own initiative. Xiao Chen glances over with an amused thought crossing his mind and instructs Xiao Li to go see what they are up to without engaging in any conflict with them for now. Xiao Li replies affirmatively and quickly takes his leave. Watching his son's retreating figure, Xiao Chen muses that they are not yet ready to confront the Jinghong Dian and must continue to exercise patience. Before even reaching the door, unpleasant shouts can be heard demanding someone bring out the Xiao family's finest tea quickly. The Xiao family members generally enable, comply with the guests' demands and pour the tea. Serving them are Shi Lin, recently advanced to the nascent soul stage, and Jiang Chen, also newly entered into the nascent soul stage. Jiang Chen appears gentle, but his words are no less sharp as he comments on the excellent tea, noting that even in the Jinghong Dian, only elite disciples have the opportunity to savor such a brew. Xiao Li frowns with displeasure as he observes their cultivation levels, wondering if they are not even considered elite disciples within the Jinghong Dian. Shi Lin hastily interjects that clan leader Xiao jests and explains in a softer tone that if they were elite disciples, they would not be sent on such errands. His face clearly shows annoyance, but he keeps his thoughts to himself about how powerful the Jinghong Dian's elites must be, and that it seems unwise to offend them carelessly. Xiao Li inquires about the purpose of the two Jinghong Dian representatives' visit. Shi Lin offers a gentle smile and begins her prepared speech about the Jinghong Dian recruiting and cultivating talented individuals for a brighter future. She mentions the appearance of a treasure and suggests they assist each other in obtaining this fortuitous opportunity. Jiang Chen adds that this matter is beneficial for Sunset City, Xiao clan, and every commoner. Xiao Li plays along, showing no particular emotion, and simply states that it is a fortunate turn of events. Just as Shi Lin smugly believes her prey is about to fall into the trap, Xiao Li douses her with a bucket of cold water by stating that Xiao clan, as the largest clan in Sunset City, should yield such an opportunity to others. Shi Lin continues her enticement, unaware that her entire plan is transparent to them, and insists that this opportunity is specifically offered by the Jinghong Dian to Xiao clan, not just anyone. She begins to drop the pretense, revealing her true colors with a sharpened tone laced with provocation, implying that Xiao clan might look down on the Jinghong Dian. Xiao Li witnesses Shi Lin's rapid emotional shift and shakes his head in exasperation, thinking she is immature and unable to control her emotions. He calmly replies with the composure of someone experienced, explaining that there is a misunderstanding. He claims Xiao clan is full of individuals with ordinary aptitudes who are not interested in the arduous path of cultivation. He mentions that Xiao clan has a large population and many businesses, and their descendants only wish to enjoy life's pleasures. He adds modestly that any encounter with Xiao clan descendants would surely lead to disappointment. Shi Lin shows no respect and speaks without clarity, calling his words nonsense. She brings up Xiao Ho as a pillar of Xiao clan, the son-in-law of the Ming Kingdom's emperor, and a rare genius in the cultivation world. She mentions him as if boasting of a trophy and lowers her voice to note that despite his young age, Xiao Hu has already reached the nascent soul stage. She questions how such outstanding talent could be called ordinary and what that makes the rest. Xiao Li calmly raises his hand and denies everything, stating that Xiao Hu left Xiao clan years ago and they do not know about his outside affairs. He emphasizes that what Xiao clan possesses has nothing to do with Xiao Hu. The two Jinghong Dian representatives look at each other without speaking. Jiang Chen crosses his arms and puts on airs of nobility, speaking in a judgmental tone that the Jinghong Dian is giving an opportunity and they should know how to seize it. He claims they have their own methods of testing talent and need not worry. Shi Lin continues by ordering Xiao Li to summon the descendants of Xiao clan and not to say anything more about other matters. Xiao Li does not rush to refute or say anything. He silently takes a small package from his chest, and his face shows a pained expression. He implores them to understand that on the path to seeking treasures, disputes are bound to occur, and he cannot bear to see the bloodline of Xiao clan endangered. He suggests that if possible, Xiao clan will certainly reward them handsomely. Jiang Chen sneers but still accepts the pot Xiao Li offers, his tone arrogant as he questions if they are being taken for greedy individuals. He shakes the pouch, and gold, silver, and copper coins clatter to the ground. Shilin's voice grows louder and louder, showing no respect for the elderly man, and she tells him to stop playing petty tricks, claiming they came to enlighten the masses, not to extort money. Xiaoli regains his sharpness, turning his back to them and only glancing back over his shoulder as he replies that the matter is not simple and he must discuss it with Xiao clan members first. He then goes to report the entire incident to Xiao Shen. He tells his father that the two are difficult to deal with, stubborn and unyielding, and wonders if they are truly that loyal. Xiao Shen laughs, having anticipated this, and explains to his son that if they can find talented individuals for the Jinghongdian, the rewards they receive will be even more generous. Xiao Li still does not know what to do and asks for advice on whether they should let them search for talent within Xiao clan. He mentions that the chosen children are all in secluded cultivation, adjusting their states. Shi Chen seems to have thought of a solution, frowning slightly as he says he will go meet them himself and let them search as they please. Jiali obeys and agrees. Xiao Chen uses instantaneous movement ability, abruptly appearing in another room. He and Xiaoli go out to meet the people from the Jinghongdian. Xiao Chen sternly asks what benefits Xiao clan will receive if they truly have talented individuals who are chosen. Xiaoli follows closely behind and speaks to the Jinghongdian representatives, introducing Xiao Shen as the Xiao clan's ancestor and stating that if they want to choose someone from Xiao clan, they must obtain the ancestor's approval. Zhang Chen answers Xiao Chen's question by countering with another question, his attitude extremely confident. He asks what benefits Xiao clan will receive, implying it should be obvious. Xiao Chen silently observes the two for a moment, secretly assessing them and thinking they are putting on a show of strength. Shilin tilts her head, crossing her arms in front of her chest, her tone indifferent as she says that for Xiao clan's talent to be chosen and join the Jinghongdian for cultivation is already an honor to their ancestors. She adds that if they possess high talent, they could become a hegemon, protecting Xiao clan for hundreds or even thousands of years. Xiao Chen lets these words go in one ear and out the other, feeling very dissatisfied with their method of recruiting talent and considering it all empty promises. Shilin turns hostile and tries to manipulate the Xiao family by stating that their arrival is a blessing for Xiao clan, and they have already gained a lot. Xiao Chen reiterates what his son just told them, that there are no outstanding juniors or geniuses in Xiao clan as they expect, and they might even disappoint them. Shilin regains her composure and says that the people in Xiao clan seem to have discussed how to refuse them, all using the same excuse, and wonders if they are looking down on the Jinghongdian's plan or the Jinghongdian itself. At this moment, the system appears with a notification that Xiao clan is threatened and activates options for selection. Xiao Chen remains in deep thought as he reads the options. Option 1 is to refuse the request, reveal his strength, and deal with them on the spot, with a reward of the high-level trimmer technique. Option 2 is to agree to let them choose and screen Xiao clan descendants, with a reward of the illusionary eye technique. Xiao Chen begins to consider the options carefully, knowing he must be extremely cautious as one wrong move could lead to disaster. He thinks that the first option, revealing his strength and killing them, would definitely be discovered by the Jinghongdian, who would continue to send people to investigate Xiao clan. He notes that the high-level trimmer technique is more suitable for escaping and decides he should not tear off his mask just yet, preferring to take one step at a time. After Xiao Shen makes his choice, the system appears and confirms his selection. It congratulates him on successfully receiving the illusionary eye technique. This technique allows him to manipulate what enemies below his own cultivation level see, changing their perception according to his will. Everything they observe depends entirely on his thoughts. Xiao Chen looks at the people from Jinghongdian with a slight smile. Seeing his expression, Zhang Chen feels a sense of apprehension and wonders if he has revealed any flaws in their plan. Xiao Chen begins to put on an act, suggesting they are overthinking things and inviting them to observe for themselves to see the aptitudes as Xiao clan descendants. Shilin agrees, expressing her belief that Xiao clan definitely has geniuses among them. Xiao Li still does not understand his father's intentions and feels very curious about the situation. He questions how Xiao clan descendants could be as ordinary as his father claims and wonders if he really plans to let them join Jinghongdian. Xiao Chen and Xiao Li lead the way to where the descendants between ages 18 and 25 reside. They talk as they walk, noting this area is truly the prime of youth, full of vitality. Upon arriving at the entrance, Xiao Chen sits down and does not enter with them, citing his old age and frailty making it inconvenient to walk. He tells his son to lead them inside and waits there for their return. Xiao Li accepts the order and guides the two inside. As soon as they enter and see no one, they become suspicious. Zhang Chen demands an explanation for the desolate wasteland before them, suggesting no one is present. Shilin voices her concern that they might be led into a trap to be killed in this deserted place. Xiaoli calmly closes his eyes and explains they have misunderstood, asking them to listen quietly instead. The two do not press the matter further and close their eyes to sense the power of the place. Strange creaking and rustling sounds pull Shilin's mind back to reality. She expresses confusion about the noises, which are followed by a series of strange sounds that make her blush with embarrassment. She exclaims about people engaging in such activities in broad daylight. Zhang Chen naturally hears the sounds as well, with his cheeks flushing, and he thinks it resembles a brothel with so many people active day and night. He cannot help but ask what exactly Xiao clan is doing there. Xiaoli puts on an air of mystery and states that no explanation is needed, as they have heard everything. Zhang Chen regains his composure, lowers his head without looking directly at them, and comments on Xiao clan being too casual, with so many people in broad daylight, though he does not finish his sentence. Xiaoli crosses his arms with a displeased expression and simply questions if enjoying the pleasures of the bedroom is a crime in the outer courtyard of Xiao clan. Shilin knows their behavior is not appropriate, her face still flushed, and she expresses curiosity about the reason behind it. Xiaoli continues that if not for this, Xiao clan could not have grown to its current size. Her eyes light up as she suggests it might be due to Xiao Huhu's appearance. Xiaoli immediately denies this, sticking to his stance that Huo went out to train himself for the peace of the Ming Kingdom and its people, and Xiao clan has never benefited from him. He emphasizes that only by giving birth to children can the Xiao clan bloodline grow stronger. Zhang Chen changes the subject by noting that the young men over 18 there do not have a single free night. Xiao Lai is too lazy to respond, letting them think whatever they want, and confirms this, suggesting they wait until nightfall to see for themselves. He boasts that Xiao clan may not excel in other aspects, but is very proficient in this one. Zhang Chen can only say awkwardly that they are certainly straightforward and vigorous. Suddenly, Shilin's gaze lands on the split mountain, and she asks curiously why it is split, wondering if there was an earthquake. Xiaoli frowns and deliberately fabricates an even more absurd story, claiming one night the entire Xiao clan worked tirelessly day and night, leading to the mountain splitting. He insists that if they do not believe him, they can ask the residents of Sunset City, as everyone knows about this. The more he speaks, the darker Shilin's face becomes, stiff as a statue. They walk around and return. Xiao Chen speaks up and asks what they think of Xiao clan descendants. Neither of them says anything or looks at each other, turning their faces away in disregard. Xiao Chen suppresses a laugh and calls out to them again. Zhang Chen still does not dare look directly at him, avoiding the main point and noting this is only the outer courtyard, so there must be others elsewhere. At this point, Xiao Chen stands up and tells them to follow him. Xiaoli glances at him and whispers that the descendants here are all outstanding talents. Xiao Shen reassures him that it is all right. Xiao Chen turns his back to the two Jing Hong Dian representatives while he is deep in thought. He considers the generous rewards offered by Jing Hong Dian for finding talented disciples. They would receive 10 top-grade medicinal pills for 10 disciples and elite disciple status for 20 disciples. He feels very interested in these rewards, with his heart filled with joy and his future appearing limitless. Xiao Chen turns back to confirm once more if they are truly sure about seeing the disciples. They reply together that he should stop talking nonsense and they should proceed. Since that is the situation, Xiao Chen lowers his head slightly and gently circulates his internal energy. With a snap, he activates the illusionary eye technique, and he informs them they can go now. Hearing this, they become visibly excited. In the training area, Xiao clan descendants practice diligently without stopping. Some lift giant stones over their heads with ease. Xiaoli feels very concerned because these geniuses would probably be selected, but Zhang Chen and Shilin are under hypnosis. Observing the scene, they display expressions of disgust. Zhang Chen and Shilin see only a foolish disciple drooling and appearing unfit. Zhang Chen looks over with a contemptuous tone, stating that such a person should not be in Xiao clan's inner court and their standards seem too low. Xiao Lai remains unaware of the distorted vision and feels upset about Xiao clan being disparaged. This disciple ranks among the top 10 in Xiao clan, so he questions the idea of low potential. Shilin, fully hypnotized, seems to have lost all reason. She scoffs that this individual is worse than ordinary commoners they have encountered. Xiaoli cannot believe they would evaluate Xiao clan members in this manner and asks if there is some error. Xiao Chen whispers from behind, just audibly, that it is fine and they should continue. Only then does Xiaoli suddenly understand, feeling much more relaxed. He realizes his father has already arranged things and thinks his father is truly impressive. Further ahead, under a tree, two strong disciples train by running with lightning speed. However, under Xiao Chen's hypnosis, Zhang Chen sees a different image. He views a short, fat child giggling foolishly while hanging from a tree branch. Through Zhang Chen's eyes, another person engages in an indecent act by urinating on a wall and directing the stream to write the character Xiao. He expresses disgust, calling them crazy. Shi Lin looks elsewhere and sees a disciple with a noose around his neck. She cannot help feeling disappointed and loses all interest. She turns to ask Xiao Clan if there are any other geniuses like this. Xiao Li repeats the term, geniuses. In reality, the person Shi Lin observed was meditating and cultivating. This disciple practices the immovable bright king technique but has only reached the 3rd level of golden core, making him average in the group. Xiao Li wonders why they focus on this disciple alone. Xiao Chen strokes his chin with a sly expression, looking forward to the entertainment he has created. More illusions follow. From the perspective of the Jinghong Dian representatives, Xiao Clan disciples play around in strange ways. Jiang Chen and Shilin see a disciple sliding on the ground and a fat one lying on his back while laughing foolishly. Another person cries and yells about hand pain. The two from Jinghong Dian are stunned and feel nauseated. They stare at these tired-looking individuals with disbelief, questioning how they could act this way. Xiao Li declares loudly that they are all outstanding talents of Xiao Clan and he is not mistaken. Jiang Chen responds reluctantly that it is difficult to imagine. He remarks that Xiao Huhu's birth in Xiao Clan must be a blessing built over many generations. Shi Lin's comments are harsher, suggesting Xiao Clan survives only because of Xiao Huo, not due to their own efforts. After watching for some time, they do not select anyone they like. Disappointed, Shi Lin returns to Xiao Chen's side and inquires about their decision, asking if they have made a choice. Shi Lin answers that they have not. Although Xiao Chen does not wish to tarnish Xiao Clan's reputation, this method protects his descendants. He states that Xiao Clan is simply like this, and they have seen both the inner and outer courts. They turn to leave, pretending to be dissatisfied. They comment that the experience was eye-opening and they should depart quickly. Xiao Chen briefly instructs someone to see the guests out. As they exit, they continue to mutter and complain to each other, even with Xiao Li following behind. They express frustration over wasting a full day, and suggest they should have visited Master Chen's estate instead. Jiang Chen speaks with disdain, describing the scene as pathetic. He wonders if Xiao Clan only focuses on reproduction and nothing else. Shilin adds that it is no surprise Xiao Huhu never returns, as she surely does not want to see these worthless people. Jiang Chen strongly agrees, stating he would not return either and finds it embarrassing to consider. He mentions the act of writing Ji Xiao with P, questioning what kind of fool would do that. Xiao Li feels completely confused, never expecting these words to refer to his own clan. He ponders if they are discussing Xiao Clan. Back in the inner court of Xiao Clan, Xiao Li cannot stop thinking about the recent encounter with the Jinghong Dian representatives. He feels deeply confused because Xiao Clan disciples are regarded as top talents not only in Sunset City but throughout the Ming Kingdom. While they may not possess Xiao Hu's extraordinary abilities, they remain formidable cultivators. He expresses his frustration to his father, Xiao Chen, wondering if the descendants they consider geniuses are viewed as worthless by Jinghong Dian. Xiao Chen confirms this observation with a slightly softened expression. He states that Jinghong Dian has no shortage of geniuses within its ranks. He reflects on his past life, where Xiao Max had attributes like Kaline Soft Bone, Azure Dragon Bone Marrow, Vermilion Bird Bloodline, and Black Tortoise Meridians, making Xiao Clan's current talents seem inferior by comparison. Xiao Li follows him with a face full of worry, now understanding the situation better. He questions whether they should even participate in the treasure hunt, since Jinghong Dian will undoubtedly be their strongest competitors. Xiao Chen considers the broader perspective, noting that a prize of this magnitude is bound to attract widespread competition. He mentions that many parties already know about the treasure vault's appearance and are likely lying in wait. Xiao Li grasps the seriousness of the matter and agrees to have Xiao Clan disciples continue their intensive training. Despite his own considerable strength, Xiao Chen experiences a touch of anxiety. Believing that greater power will ensure their safety, he proceeds to the back mountains of Xiao Clan and stands before the large gate, deciding to enter the secluded area. There, he surveys the treasures he has acquired from the system, many of which remain unused and are suitable for gifting to Xiao Clan's elite disciples. He turns a treasure over in his hand, contemplating how to utilize these resources to boost his strength. For half a month, Xiao Chen remains in seclusion within the mountain area, dedicating himself to cultivation. His expression shows no improvement, and he persists in his training efforts to enhance his power. Through repeated practice, he advances to the 3rd level of spirit transformation but feels somewhat disappointed with his progress. He thinks the spiritual pills and precious medicines can only provide limited assistance, and the pace remains too slow. He resolves to maximize his efforts in the remaining time. Xiao Chen returns to Xiao Clan's main hall, where Xiao Li reports that the treasure hunting team is fully prepared and ready to depart at any moment. Xiao Chen responds positively and instructs his son to bring the team in for inspection. Xiao Li promptly obeys and presents a group of descendants who bow respectfully to the ancestor. These individuals are all carefully selected, with muscular physiques visible beneath their clothing and determined expressions. Xiao Li introduces Xiao Feng as the team captain, a young man with long purple hair tied in a high ponytail who slightly purses his lips. Xiao Li explains that Xiao Feng possesses strength at the peak of the Golden Core realm, and the other members are also at the Golden Core level, all being outstanding talents of Xiao clan capable of retrieving the hidden treasure. Xiao Chen's eyes brighten with clear satisfaction. He rises and announces their departure, unrolling a scroll to confirm the map's authenticity. He notes that the map is genuine but is being leaked, and the news of the mysterious treasure has been spread by Jinghong Dian. Xiao Chen reiterates the need for caution, warning of a likely conspiracy behind these events. He emphasizes that their lives hold the highest priority and must be protected at all costs. The team replies in unison that they understand. Xiao Li, committing wholeheartedly to the mission, firmly states that he will remember the ancestors' teachings. Xiao Shen raises a hand to perform a minor spell and presents Xiao Li with a magical treasure orb for protection, which can open a spatial rift near an enemy to inflict serious damage. Xiao Feng accepts the gift with gratitude. The brief meeting concludes and the selected descendants set out on their journey. Xiao Chen still feels uneasy as he watches them leave. He decides to deploy puppets to follow discreetly for additional protection. A deeply concerned expression crosses his face as he hopes the Golden Core realm substitute puppets will suffice, but he retains other methods, such as eliminating threats from a distance if necessary. On the border between the Ming and Liang kingdoms, a diverse crowd of people gathers, including men and women of all ages. Someone addresses the group, paying respects to Divine Venerable Hong Xin. The leader acknowledges their efforts in recruiting talented disciples for Jinghong Dian and promises to fulfill the reward commitments. He pauses briefly, lowering his head in thought, then criticizes Shi Lin and Jiang Chen for bringing back only 10 disciples from Sunset City, a place rich in talent, and expresses his disappointment in their performance. The two kneel in apology, their heads nearly touching the ground, and maintain this posture while explaining that they conducted a thorough investigation of Xiao clan but found nothing of value. Jiang Chen recounts observing outer court members consumed by worldly desires and inner court members being even worse, deeming them unworthy of consideration. Divine Venerable Hong Xin waves his hand, dismissing the matter, and concludes that Xiao clan has Xiao Huhu as a single prospect but no other notable descendants. He issues orders for his disciples to begin the treasure search, guiding them to the hidden location. He appears confident and pleased, emphasizing that he wants all these people to experience the opportunity and ultimately stay as members of Jinghong Dian, becoming his disciples. Divine Venerable Hong Xin looks towards the majestic mountains and inquires of his subordinates about any news regarding Xiao Huhuo. The person behind him immediately reports that Xiao Huhuo remains in the Ming kingdom and has not left, with no movements made toward the treasure vault. He abruptly turns around with gleaming eyes and questions if the spies placed in the Ming kingdom and the disciples in the Lion kingdom would have died in vain if Xiao Huhu does not come. The subordinate shares a piece of confidential information, mentioning that Xiao clan has sent people heading their way. Divine Venerable Hong Xin gives a soft sound of acknowledgement without particular surprise. He has fallen into the trap set by Xiao Shen, completely unaware of how formidable Xiao clan's people truly are. His tone becomes dismissive as he states that besides Xiao Huo, no one else deserves his attention. He recalls that Jiang Chen and Shi Lin confirmed Xiao clan's people are useless, so there is no need for excessive focus. He places his hands behind his back and outlines the next plan, indicating it is time to prepare for entering and searching the treasure vault. However, he emphasizes the need to monitor Xiao Huhu closely and report any movements immediately. On Xiao clan's side, Xiao Feng assembles his treasure hunting team and carefully instructs them before departure. He reminds everyone that from now on, they are disciples of the Qiao clan from the northern Liao kingdom. Before him stands a team of outstanding elite disciples. Xiao Feng's demeanor provides a sense of reassurance. He is considered truly worthy of being the team captain, appearing reckless but working meticulously and cautiously, much like his ancestor. The disciples are in high spirits and confirm their understanding by addressing him as Big Brother Xiao Feng. Hearing this, Xiao Feng immediately corrects them, insisting they call him Big Brother Qia Feng instead. Faced with this responsibility, he always tries to boost morale and create a relaxed atmosphere. He mentions that Ancestor Xiao Shen said the mission is very important, and they must do their best to obtain the treasure. He adds that in the future, any acts like killing or arson will be done in the name of the Qiao clan, while good deeds will still attribute to Xiao clan. Xiao Chen observes from the side, feeling very satisfied. He chuckles softly and thinks he can rest easy for now, considering such a capable descendant a blessing for the clan. Just then, a system notification sounds, detecting the reincarnation of a peak stage asking the heavens expert born into Xiao clan. The system detects that for the second time, a grandson is a reincarnated expert, and the reward is immortality. This tea has calming and soul-purifying effects and can accelerate the development of the drinker's senses, shortening the time needed to comprehend cultivation techniques. Xiao-Chen wonders about the coincidence of searching for a secret treasure left by a peak, stage asking the heavens expert, while a newborn is the reincarnation of such an expert. The system displays a choice. Option 1 is to be prepared and help the reincarnated child awaken for the sake of his Kulin grandson, with the reward being the divine ability Heaven Opening Seal. Option 2 is to be cautious and wary, eliminating potential threats by erasing the great expert's previous life memories, with the reward being the divine ability Cycle Seal. Before making a choice, Xiao-Chen wants to confirm with the system how many memories a reincarnated peak, stage asking the heavens expert can retain. The system replies that such an expert can unravel mysteries within the fetus through secret techniques and generally retain memories of their previous life, but their consciousness remains in a chaotic state. Xiao-Chen understands and immediately goes to where the special child has just been born. He enters the room where a disciple holds the baby, smiling and greeting. The disciple reports that the baby is smiling with squinting eyes and looks very healthy. The child's name is Human Race, Heavenly Spiritual Root Aptitude, Golden Core Stage Cultivation, Special Identity as a Reincarnated Peak, Stage Asking the Heavens Expert, and an innate spiritual treasure called the 1,000 Transformations Bead that can accelerate time. Xiao-Chen looks at the newborn child with gentle eyes and smiles inwardly, thinking that being born at the Golden Core stage is worthy of a great expert who unraveled mysteries from within the fetus. He opens the landscape painting wide, causing the children who were laughing to start crying loudly. Xiao-Chen holds a cup of water and tells the child that there is no need to hide anymore, as they naturally reincarnated into Xiao clan, and he has no hostile intentions. The child understands the situation and stops crying, opening their round eyes wide. The child can actually talk and expresses surprise that Ancestor has such good tea. Xiao-Chen pays attention to their choice of words and asks if calling him Ancestor means they accept being a member of Xiao clan. The child sits cross-legged, propped on their hands, and replies with a smile that since reincarnating, they will naturally forget their former name and sever all ties with their previous life. They continue cheerfully, mentioning they intended to reincarnate humbly, but did not expect to be born into a cultivation clan. Inwardly, they think they cannot sense Xiao-Chen's cultivation level, which must be at the Bodhi integration stage. Xiao-Chen feels a little embarrassed and explains that it is not a great cultivation clan, but the family believes in having many descendants, so they reproduce frequently. He quickly regains his serious expression and states that regardless of the past, since the child carries Xiao clan blood, they are naturally a member, which is also his desire. The system notifies that he receives the divine ability Heaven Opening Seal. Xiao-Chen immediately gives this gift to the newborn child, saying that since they were born in Xiao clan, as ancestor, he must give a meeting gift. He says slowly that the Heaven Opening Seal is not a profound divine ability but sufficient as a meeting gift. The child immediately thanks Ancestor. The child, having just received the gift, sweats a little and thinks to themselves that as a reincarnated peak, stage asking the heavens expert with incomplete memories, a divine ability that points directly to primordial chias is remarkable. Xiao-Chen stands before his newborn descendant, Xiao Lin, and expresses his pleasure that Liner appreciates the gift. He offers help if Xiao Lin encounters any issues while cultivating divine ability. The exceptionally gifted reincarnated child wonders internally if the ancestor, whose cultivation level remains unfathomable, might also be a peak stage asking the heavens expert. The child feels amazed that such a powerful divine ability is given away so freely. After a brief moment of thought, Xiao Lin cheerfully responds that although the gift comes from the ancestor, Liner cannot accept it without offering something in return. Recalling memories from past life, the child mentions that the place where they perished previously likely holds many heavenly and earthly treasures, which may have appeared after their reincarnation. Xiao Lin suggests the ancestor send people to search there as a small token of gratitude. Xiao-Chen recognizes this location well, but keeps this knowledge from the child, only thinking to himself that it matches the place where the Jing Hongdian are searching for the treasury. The details align with the passing of a peak, stage asking the heavens expert and the hidden treasures. He decides to share the truth with Xiao Lin, even though it might cause some distress. He informs Lin that the tomb is likely to be excavated soon. The child feels bewildered and confused about the situation. Meanwhile, on the other side of the mountain range, a large crowd gathers, with everyone prepared to search for the treasury. Xiao clan members observe the groups and note their direction does not match the location on the map provided by the ancestor. They begin discussing among themselves. One disciple states that the ancestor was correct about the Jing Hongdian having an ulterior motive. Another disciple asks what they should do next. Xiao Feng remains the calmest as always and has already devised a solution. He calls everyone to gather around and whispers the plan to the entire team. After hearing the plan, one disciple voices concern that following it might prevent them from obtaining the treasures. With full confidence, Xiaofeng replies that he cannot stand by and watch fellow cultivators fall victim to the Jinghong Dian's wicked schemes. However, nearly everyone agrees with Xiaofeng's proposal. They believe thwarting the Jinghong Dian's plans is a significant contribution. One disciple declares they will follow Brother Xiao's lead and another echoes this support. Encouraged by their backing, Xiaofeng's resolve strengthens and he acknowledges them as his loyal brothers. In the distance, Divine Venerable Hong Xin secretly observes everything. His subordinate reports that several hundred more people are waiting outside Bone Valley. He listens with satisfaction and decides to wait a bit longer, wanting more individuals to enter the net before taking action. The Jinghong Dian members assemble at a different location, which is the true site of the hidden treasures. Shi Lin and Zhang Chen stand at the front. Before the entrance to the treasure trove, some feel chills due to the incredibly dense spiritual energy. They are filled with excitement and chat with each other, with one mentioning that sensing the spiritual energy makes them feel close to leveling up, and another agreeing. A young boy appears at the entrance, playing a zither. Despite his youth, the child possesses a sharp ability to judge character. He feels that no one in the Jinghong Dian group has exceptional talent. Upon seeing the boy, Shi Lin inquires about his identity, and Zhang Chen asks if he wants to join the Jinghong Dian. The boy stops playing the zither, producing a harsh sound, and raises his head to provocatively state that they dare to excavate his grave. Hearing this, the two fall silent, stunned for a few moments. Doubt fills their minds about whether this is the Ming Yuan Emperor's grave and who the child might be. The boy sits cross-legged, glaring at them, and he is none other than Xiao Lin from the Xiao clan. Xiao Lin feels somewhat dissatisfied with the rushed situation. After using the Heavenly Transformation Pearl, he takes on the appearance of an 8-year-old child in less than a day, which is temporarily sufficient. Zhang Chen, ignorant and arrogant, does not believe the true identity of the person before him, noting the terrifying cultivation at the 9th level of the Golden Core for someone so young. He reflects on how many years have passed since the Ming Yuan Emperor fell and adds that they are still trying to intimidate children. He issues one final chance to join the Jinghong Dian or face death. Xiao Lin stands up with his hands clasped behind his back and slowly questions if it is just them. Shi Lin, growing impatient, wants to attack immediately, thinking a young brat daring to insult them must be seeking death. Her palm gradually enlarges and moves toward Xiao Lin. Xiao Lin can no longer tolerate their arrogance, especially at his ancestor's grave. He circulates his internal energy, enveloping his body with power, and counters Shi Lin's palm strike. Zhang Chen pulls Shi Lin back, stating the distance is too far and urges her to run. Shi Lin is already injured, with blood seeping through her clothing. Naturally, Xiao Lin does not allow them to leave easily and demands they stay. Xiao Chen receives the news at home through system notifications. The system reports that Xiao Lin successfully killed Jinghong Dian disciples Jian and Shi Lin. It also notifies Xiao Lin changed the minds of 32 talented disciples, causing them to leave the Jinghong Dian with their related memories erased. Another notification states that Xiao Lin killed 89 talented disciples of the Jinghong Dian. Xu Chen is not overly surprised, but rather approving, noting that although the Heavenly Transformation Pearl's duration is 8 years, Xiao Lin has been reborn for less than a day and already demonstrates the terrifying power of a reincarnated expert by killing nascent soul cultivators. He clutches the treasure in his hand, feeling a bit anxious, and thinks he needs to be more cautious because the world is too dangerous. Before he can see anyone, he hears the clamor of Xiao clan descendants shouting for everyone to run, explaining that it is a plot by the Liao kingdom to usurp their nation with traps in the valley. They flee in panic, ignoring their captain, and yell that the Liao kingdom's army is present. The treasures are a deception, and Xiao clan risk their lives to uncover this. Xiaofeng stands there, commanding loudly and imposingly for everyone to remain silent, stating that this is a feud between the usurping Liao kingdom and the Xiao clan. Divine Venerable Hong Xin stands with his 2 disciples, furious at being deceived, and questions the mention of a Liao kingdom army. He orders everyone to leave the valley immediately, and the men flee in a hurry, shouting to run and that they are about to lose their lives. Everyone flees desperately from the valley, with only a small number of people remaining behind. They shout warnings about the Liao kingdom's army arriving. The Divine Venerable stands proudly on a nearby mountain slope, observing all the activities below with regained confidence. He feels the plan was very close to success. The sudden appearance of this group reduces the number of people in the valley by more than half. He orders the formation to be activated immediately. His energy instantly descends and densely covers the forest, causing the scattered and fleeing people to panic even more. They have no time to react to the situation. He dismisses the idea of a Liao kingdom army and waves his hand in fury, thinking of them as insects ruining his plans and wanting them dead. The giant hand targets Xiaofeng specifically. Xiaofeng stands straight without moving, surprised that someone from Jinghong Dian at the nascent soul stage acts so swiftly. Facing this threat, Xiaofeng prepares for death, believing that saving many fellow cultivators makes it worth dying. However, Xiao Chen cannot allow his people to die easily. The clone sent by Xiao Chen appears just in time, standing in front of Xiaofeng and commanding the Divine Venerable to stop. A loud explosion echoes through the area. Even inside his house, Xiao Chen knows what has occurred. He folds his arms and sighs, thinking how terrifying it is that his puppet has been shattered. He finds the situation truly frightening. Xiao Chen flicks his finger with a smile, using the heavenly first finger technique. Xiaofeng, saved by Xiao Chen, feels deeply grateful. He thanks the senior for saving his life and acknowledges that the senior used his own life to create a path for survival. Xiaofeng vows not to seek death again, as that would waste the senior's great kindness. The Divine Venerable realizes someone has interfered and immediately frowns. He thinks an old man dares to obstruct him and compares it to an egg striking a stone, seeking death. He has arranged everything from start to finish, with the formation already active. He wonders where they can run now. The Divine Venerable vows to catch Xiaofeng and is determined to defeat him. He flies closer to Xiaofeng and yells that an insignificant ant like him has only one path, which is death. Xiaofeng runs with all his strength. Suddenly, during the hot pursuit, the Divine Venerable stops because his intuition warns him of danger. His pupils dilate suddenly. A long spear carrying undeniable force flies toward the Divine Venerable at rocket-like speed. He stops abruptly mid-air, with one hand clenched behind his back and the other reaching out to block the spear. However, plans often go awry, and no matter how arrogant he usually is, defeat eventually comes. The spear does not stop and pierces straight through his chest. After his life is threatened, the Divine Venerable immediately takes a treasure pill and puts it in his mouth. Without the pill given by the palace master, he would have likely died there. Several wounds appear on his body, and one arm, pierced by the spear, is severed. Under the pill's effect, it gradually regenerates. His clothes tear, revealing solid muscles. He still composes himself to ask which senior has acted and requests their presence to speak, asking them to give Jinghong Dian some face. As soon as he finishes speaking, a giant finger appears in the sky, pointing directly at him. The Divine Venerable looks up uneasily. The finger touches him, creating a massive electrical spark. With just that light touch, smoke and dust fill the surroundings. The Divine Venerable's clothes vanish. He turns and flees, muttering that whoever it is, Jinghong Dian will make them pay dearly. When he calms down and looks back, the finger has changed direction, pointing toward the mountains and forests. The Divine Venerable looks up at the sky in confusion. Xiao Chen sits down to rest, satisfied with the short skirmish, and expresses his approval repeatedly. The system displays a notification congratulating him on achieving the foe's defeat, award for letting the enemy escape, and rewarding him with a first-grade spatial confinement pearl. The system also detects that his subordinate Xiaofeng has killed a nascent soul realm enemy 2 realms higher and rewards the Ascendant Spirit Pill refining method. Additionally, Xiaofeng successfully killed Divine Venerable Hong Xin of Jinghong Dian, and Xiao Shen receives a second-grade High Tribulation Transcendence Nascent Soul Armor. Because Xiao Chen inflicted the most damage and was the most injured, the Descendants Achievements are My Achievements activates, granting him a Tribulation Transcendence Nascent Soul Armor Spirit Treasure. After receiving the notification, Xiao Chen reproaches himself for being too weak since he attacked to kill a nascent soul realm cultivator but let him escape. He feels fortunate that Xiaofeng did not disappoint him. He resolves to have more descendants and strive for more. The reward he receives is shaped like a Anyang spear, a first-grade spatial confinement pearl that can seal an area's space to prevent enemy escape. The second treasure looks like a letter containing a special formula for refining the Ascendant Spirit Pill, which can enhance spiritual root quality. Looking at these new treasures, Xiao Chen feels overjoyed and thinks they are all good things. He always prioritizes his descendants in everything. Many people in the clan suffer from poor spiritual roots. With the Ascendant Spirit Pill, there will be more geniuses in the clan. Xiao Chen strokes his chin with slightly narrowed eyes in thought. He regrets that there are no alchemists in the family to refine the pill and decides he will have to learn it himself. Someone pleads for the protector to spare his life, claiming that a true expert has acted this time. This person kneels while speaking, looking very pitiful, as if he committed a grave offense. The Divine Venerable stands before him, questioning him and stating that this person is the true culprit behind all that happened. He mentions the Jiao clan of the Jiao kingdom, and that the terrifying finger is the divine ability of the Jiao clan's ancestor. While the Divine Venerable was fighting Qiufeng of the Qiu clan, he was attacked by a finger, and then his nascent soul was destroyed by Xiaofeng. The Divine Venerable's expression darkens with each word. He says he had planned to deal with the Ming and Liang kingdoms first, then the Liao kingdom, but the Liao kingdom appeared too urgently. They fell into a trap about the true identity of Xiao clan. After a while, two people approach them. Both are cloaked from head to toe with their faces obscured. The Divine Venerable addresses them as Divine Venerable Hong Feng and Divine Venerable Len Ying. Upon hearing their names, both reply in unison that they are present. The Divine Venerable outlines their mission, ordering them to go and clean up the chaotic situation in the Ming and Liang kingdoms using forceful methods to suppress it and restore Jing Hong Dian's prestige. He says he will personally go to the Qiu clan of the Liao kingdom, expressing surprise that their reach extends so far. Divine Venerable Hong Feng and Divine Venerable Len Ying hear the mission clearly, show no reaction, and respectfully say they obey. One fine morning at Qiu clan, the young boy, Xiao Lin, stands before Xiao Shen, and true to his promise to the ancestor, Xiao Lin offers the clan the treasures and knowledge he acquired in his previous life. Xiao Chen smiles with warmth in his eyes, appreciating Lin's thoughtfulness. Xiao Lin adds that with the ancestor's protection, he can cultivate peacefully without worries. Xiao Chen looks at the boy affectionately and gently inquires if Lin knows the art of alchemy. Xiao Lin widens his eye, answers without hesitation that he does know alchemy but is not highly proficient, as he is more skilled in music. Xiao Chen hands him a scroll containing an alchemy method. Xiao Lin takes it and immediately unrolls it to read. The more he reads, the more astonished he becomes. He thinks to himself that pills capable of enhancing spiritual roots have always been legendary, and he never expected them to be real. He considers enhancing spiritual roots akin to defying heaven and changing one's destiny, viewing it not just as a great creation but as a supreme treasure. After reading, Xiao Lin humbly declines, stating that this alchemy method is beyond his current ability to refine. Xiao Chen continues to smile, giving him an opportunity without pressure, and suggests that Lin can go cultivate while he studies it himself. Just then, outside Xiao clan's city, a woman with waist-length hair dressed in white appears. She is Zhongling Chuyan, her face veiled with a thin layer of gauze. She looks toward Xiao clan resolve and declares that she has finally returned for her mother. Xiao Chen calls Xiao Li to discuss matters. As soon as Xiao Li arrives, he asks what his father needs. Xiao Chen looks down slightly and instructs Lyre to discreetly acquire specific medicinal herbs from now on. He also directs him to start cultivating them in Xiao clan's medicinal garden and plant the important ones within the mountain and river diagram. Xiao Chen reminds him to be cautious, noting that many people are currently monitoring Xiao clan, so he should not be too obvious. He advises adding the herbs while acquiring others without disrupting the usual rhythm. His Xiao Li accepts the instructions and assures his father that they regularly trade in over half the herbs on the list, and the rest can be purchased separately from different locations without attracting attention. Hearing this, Xiao Chen feels somewhat relieved. He closes his eyes slightly in thought, recognizing that Xiao Li is becoming more composed and cautious. With the medicinal herb issue resolved, his next concern is finding an alchemist. As he himself is not specialized in this field, he reflects on the Yin-Yang sphere reward treasure and notes that the Ascendant Spirit Pill is a 5th grade formula, while the highest level alchemist in Xiao clan is only 2nd grade. Training an alchemist would take too long, and Xiao clan lacks a teacher, which worries him. He frowns slightly, his face showing concern over their shallow foundation and chaotic clan plans. He believes they need reorganization with both inheritance and goals, and that continuous growth is the only solution to future difficulties. Suddenly, a system announcement detects Xiao Mu's entry into a love tribulation and activates a selection function. The first choice involves taking advantage of Shang Tianbei's unconsciousness to consummate the relationship, rewarding a 6th grade grand formation called the Red Dust Heart Refining Pagoda Formation. The second choice is to remain unmoved by her devastating beauty during a surge of passion, rewarding a special physique called the Ice Clear Jade Body. The system reviews Xiao Mu's background, name Xiao Mu, race human, 6th grade spiritual root aptitude, divine abilities including dragon, sun, sword, scripture, and others. Cultivation at the 9th level of Golden Core, special identity as a reincarnated mighty figure of the integration stage, awakened innate sword body, and possession of the heaven and earth willpower. The selection pertains to Xiao Mu entering a love tribulation where he accidentally saved a woman from the Kang clan, Kang Tianbei, and they developed a secret affection. However, clan rules prevent Kang Tianbei from expressing her feelings, and Xiao Mu, due to past trauma, also hesitates. They have an opportunity to enter the 3,000 Sword Dao inheritance, but Kang Tianbei is injured while saving Xiao Mu. In her unconscious state, she appears captivating, and Xiao Mu's icy heart begins to melt, leaving him indecisive. The system asks if Xiao Chen wishes to offer a suggestion. Xiao Chen feels awkward handling such private matters and finds it sudden. He regains composure, picks up a cup of water, and decides that no matter how tempting the reward, he should not decide this himself. The system then reviews Xiao Chen's personal information: name Shishen, age 319, cultivation at the 31st level of nascent soul, number descendants 3028, cultivation technique primordial purple choose scripture, divine abilities including heaven opening seal and others, magical treasures like cloud crossing and others, spiritual root supreme chaos spiritual root, and pills count 99. While he carefully reviews this, a shrill scream comes from outside. Xiaoli yells at someone named Xion to get out, as Zhongling Qian is causing a huge commotion. She brandishes a sword and threatens Xiao clan members who try to console her. They warn her that barging into Xiao clan and injuring members requires a reasonable explanation, or she will not leave Xiao clan city today. She retorts haughtily that no one in Xiao clan is good and insists on seeing Xiaoan, threatening to annihilate the entire clan if she does not. Xiao Shen learns of the situation and hesitates slightly, noting that the guards are injured but not fatally, indicating she showed restraint. He wonders why she insists on seeing Xiaoan and recalls that Xiaoan is a fourth-generation great-grandson known for his beauty, though with poor aptitude, who married 68 people and fathered 312 children, making him an exceptionally outstanding descendant in terms of progeny. Xiao clan disciples surround Zhongling Qian, risking their lives to stop her. She seems exhausted, her strength waning, and she had not expected Xiao clan to have so many Golden Core Realm experts besides Xiao Li and Xiao Huo. She laments that she is useless and cannot obtain justice for her mother. A series of sword lights fly toward her, and facing imminent death, Zhongling Qian smiles with tears, laughing at her miserable fate and thinking that even after she dies, Xiaoan might not feel sad. Just then, Xiao Chen appears and calls for a halt. All disciples obey and greet their great ancestor. He softly says that the child has suffered these past years, and tells Lyre to bring Youngling Qian to him. He briefly reviews her information: name Zhongling Qian, race human. Spiritual root aptitude 8th grade, divine ability tech medicine world saving scripture, cultivation level 8th level golden core, special identity as inheritor of the 9 generations medicine king, and a lost descendant of Xiao clan with no special physique. He assesses that she charged into Xiao clan to seek justice for her mother, injuring 18 guards, and sight with so many descendants, such matters are bound to happen. Xiao Chen then goes to see Xiaoan and shows him a picture of Zhongling Qian, asking if he recognizes her. And that's all for today. If you'd like us to continue this manhwa, leave a comment, and please subscribe to the channel to support us. We'll see you in the next video.